Chapter 444. In less than 100 breaths. The Lu family's war emperors were all killed without exception. There were broken corpses and broken limbs everywhere, and the pungent smell of blood enveloped the entire Lu family. Whoosh! The 10 commanders rushed into the sky and killed all of them, but there was not a single drop of blood on their bodies. The mansion master has ordered. From now on, the Lu family's patriarch will be removed from his position as the East City Lord. At the same time, the rest of the Lu family will leave the city immediately and never step into it again. Wang Hong shouted. His voice was like a bell, resounding in all directions. Remove Patriarch Lu? Expel him from the city. Who can tell me what happened? Why is the mansion master so angry? Where is Patriarch Lu now? Everyone was bewildered. This came too suddenly, and no one was mentally prepared. Wang Hong and the others did not explain, because they did not know the details now. Wang Hong took out the image crystal and quickly activated it. Soon, the mansion master's shadow appeared. Wang Hong said respectfully, Lord, the mission has been completed. Please give me the next instructions. The mansion master said, stay and supervise the Lu family. I want them to leave the city within 2 days. Understood. Wang Hong nodded and turned off the image crystal. In the cultivation room. Hearing Wang Hong's report, Old Monster Lu and the other 2 immediately collapsed on the ground, their eyes looking extremely miserable. Old Monster Shun glanced at the 3 of them and looked at the mansion master. What should we do with them? What else can we do? Of course we have to eliminate them. Wolf King's eyes flashed with a fierce light. Whoosh! Before he finished speaking, Wolf King rushed out from Qin Feiyang's shoulder, and its sharp claws cut the throats of the 3 people like lightning. Blood spurted out like a fountain. Ah! The 3 of them immediately covered their throats and screamed, Qin Feiyang, ruffian wolf, I curse you to die a horrible death. Lu Xingchen roared and was the first to die. Old Monster Lu and the 3 elders also stared at the man and the wolf with hatred and fell one after another. Phew! Qin Feiyang let out a long breath. The trouble of the Lu family was finally solved. The mansion master could not bear it. After all, Old Monster Lu had followed him for so many years. Alas! He let out a long sigh and raised his head to look at Old Monster Shun. Your granddaughter has suffered quite a blow this time. Bring her back and comfort her properly. Yes. Old Weirdo Shun responded respectfully. He turned around and looked at Qin Feiyang and Wolf King. He cupped his hands and said, I really have to thank you this time. If you have time, you must come to West City. Let this old man play the role of host. Definitely. Qin Feiyang smiled. Then we'll meet again. Eccentric Shun smiled, opened the teleportation door, and left with Shun Mei. Sigh, who would have thought that Lu Xingchen would actually do such a thing? The Manor Lord shook his head and sighed. He turned to look at the man and the wolf and chuckled. You 2 have done well. Don't just talk. Brother, I remember that we agreed that you would reward us as long as we help little girl Ran break off the engagement. Shouldn't you fulfill your promise now? Wolf King said. Promise? Ren Wuxuang was slightly stunned. She looked suspiciously at Qin Feiyang, Wolf King, and the Manor Lord. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, Sister, actually, we've been busy thinking of ways to help you break off the engagement. Ren Wuxuang said, so, the rumor last time was really spread by you too? Wolf King said proudly. It was Brother and Fatso's masterpiece. Ren Wuxuang was stunned and speechless. I can't believe you guys came up with such a bad idea. As long as it succeeds, it's a good idea. Wolf King chuckled. Ren Wuxuang couldn't help but laugh. She looked at the Manor Lord and said, Grandpa, thank you. The Manor Lord looked at her dotingly and smiled. As long as you're happy, Grandpa is willing to do anything. This time I'm really happy. Ren Wuxuang smiled. She was like a blooming rose, incomparably moving. This little girl is really a stunner. Little Qin Zi, brother will support you as always. Push her down. Wolf King secretly transmitted his voice. Get lost. Qin Feiyang secretly shouted. Don't take it for granted. In the future, when Ren Wuxuang is snatched away by another man, it'll be too late for you to regret it. Wolf King looked at Qin Feiyang disdainfully and urged, Old man, don't be long-winded. Quickly take out the reward. Let me tell you, don't think about going back on your word today. The Manor Lord's old face darkened and he said, You have to give me some time to prepare, right? Wolf King said. Then give me an exact time. The Manor Lord's face twitched and he sighed. Do I look like someone who would go back on his word? Have you heard of the saying, you may know a person for a long time without understanding his heart? Who knows what you're thinking? Wolf King pursed his lips, and his eyes were full of disdain. Do you believe that I won't beat you up? The Manor Lord glared at him angrily. Who in the spiritual state didn't know that he was a man of his word? No one had ever dared to doubt his words. This little bastard not only doubted him, but also despised him. How preposterous! However, he felt helpless in his heart and nodded. Okay. I'll give you an exact time. Early tomorrow morning I'll ask Wang Hong to deliver it to you. That's more like it. Wolf King chuckled and added, Don't forget that there's also Fatso and Lu Hong. They also helped a lot in this matter. The Manor Lord's veins suddenly bulged, and he said with a dark face, If there's nothing else, you can get lost. Little Qinzi, did you see that? The matter just ended, and this old man is ready to burn the bridge after crossing it. The Wolf King let out a strange cry. The Manor Lord's old face was gloomy to the extreme. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. He took out a jade box, handed it to Ren Wushuang, and strode away with Wolf King. What? 5 elixir patterns. After watching the man and wolf leave, Ren Wushuang opened the jade box and was dumbfounded. Huh. Startled, the Manor Lord hurried over and was also stunned on the spot. Suddenly, the Manor Lord asked Shuang, What do you think of Qin Feiyang? Ren Wushuang didn't know why his grandfather suddenly asked this, but he nodded and said, Very good. The Manor Lord said, Why don't you try to date him? Date? Ren Wushuang was slightly stunned and immediately rolled his eyes. He was speechless. Grandpa, what are you thinking? My relationship with him is purely that of brother and sister. Siblings? That's a pity. The Manor Lord muttered secretly. By the way, Grandpa, there are still many people from the Lu family in the inner hall. What should we do with them? Ren Wushuang said. The Manor Lord pondered for a moment and sighed. The combat emperors of the Lu family are all dead. Let's not kill these people. I'll ask the hall masters of the 2 halls to expel them from the inner hall. After leaving the cultivation hall, Qin Feiyang directly returned to alchemy room number 2 and entered the ancient castle to copy the battle formula. Wolf King slipped out of the inner hall and went to the Lu family to join in the fun. The matter of the Lu clan was like a plague, spreading like wildfire in Prefecture City with unstoppable momentum. As long as there were people, the matter would be discussed. The news quickly spread to the inner hall. The disciples of the Pill Fire Hall and the Cultivation Hall were also in an uproar. For a time, all kinds of rumors were flying. Some said that the Lu family had committed a heinous crime, which was why the Manor Lord took action to eliminate them. Some said that the Manor Lord had heard the rumors about Lu Xingqian and wanted to annul the engagement. The Lu family didn't agree, so they angered the Manor Lord. Some even said that the city had been too chaotic recently, and the Manor Lord was making an example of them. That afternoon, the Manor Lord personally came out to tell the truth and shattered the rumors. But he also hid some things. The first was Shun Mei. For a woman, nothing was more important than her innocence and reputation. If people knew that Shun Mei helped Lu Xingqian to murder Ren Wushuang, she would definitely be despised. If their affair was exposed, not only Shun Mei, but the entire Shun family would be in deep trouble. It would even be difficult for Shun Mei to marry in the future. So, the Manor Lord didn't say anything about Shun Mei. Old Weirdo Shin was also very grateful for this. The second was Qin Feiyang and Wolf King. The Manor Lord felt that Qin Feiyang and Wolf King were too high profile recently, so he didn't mention a word about them. He announced to the public that it was Wang Hong who found out. The sibling relationship between Qin Feiyang and Ren Wushuang wasn't exposed because of this matter. Even Old Weirdo Shin and Shun Mei didn't know. They only thought that Qin Feiyang was helping out because he saw injustice. Early the next morning, Wolf King returned to the alchemy room and told Qin Feiyang about the situation. Wolf King was very dissatisfied. He thought that Wang Hong had taken their credit. Qin Feiyang didn't care. as long as he could get the reward. Then, a man and a wolf waited in the lounge. They were naturally waiting for Wang Hong. They didn't know what reward the manor lord would give them, but even when the sun was high in the sky, Wang Hong still didn't appear. What's going on? Are they really going to go back on their word? Wolf King was like an ant on a hot pan, anxiously pacing back and forth in the cultivation room. What's the hurry? Qin Feiyong rolled his eyes at it, as if he suddenly thought of something, frowned and said, "Has the Lu family left?" Wolf King shook his head. As the saying goes, a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. Even if the Lu family was abolished, it wasn't something an ordinary family could compare to. And moving the entire family wasn't a trivial matter, so it would naturally take some time. Swish! At this moment, a figure appeared out of thin air. It was Wang Hong. Qin Feiyong hurriedly got up and cupped his hands. "Greetings, Commander Wang Hong." "No need to be so polite." Wang Hong smiled and sized up Qin Feiyong, and for a moment he was filled with emotions. When they first met in the county of Yan, this kid was only a martial master. How long had it been? Not only was he famous in the spiritual state, but his cultivation had also reached the 4-star combat emperor. He had seen many geniuses over the years in the city, but this was the first time he had met such a monstrous young man. "Where's the reward?" The Wolf King also hurriedly moved closer, his eyes shining brightly. "You're the only one who's anxious." Wang Hong was stunned and couldn't help but roll his eyes at it, and took out an iron box from his universe. The iron box was the size of an adult's palm, and it was as black as ink, looking simple and unadorned. Wolf King snatched it and opened the lid. A wave of heat suddenly surged out from the iron box. A cluster of flames floated in the iron box, and it was the size of a baby's fist. The flames kept dancing, and the entire alchemy room instantly turned into a big furnace, unbearably hot. Alchemy fire? Wolf King was surprised. That's right. This is a 4th-grade alchemy fire. With it, no matter where you go in the future, you can make the best pills. Chapter 445. 4th grade. Qin Feiyong's eyes lit up. He was worried that he had no place to find a 4th-grade pill fire, but he didn't expect the mansion master to send him one. Now, as long as he could find 2 more 4th-grade pill fires, the Nether Devil Flame could be upgraded to the 5th grade. Wang Hong laughed. "Are you satisfied with this reward?" "Satisfied, very satisfied." Wolf King nodded repeatedly, stretched out his little paw and laughed. "Where are the rewards for brother and Fatso? Take it out." Wang Hong was slightly stunned, and his face suddenly twitched. Seeing this, the smile in Wolf King's eyes also froze and said, "It can't be that the old man only gave us a cluster of pill fire, right? That's not enough?" Wang Hong frowned. Even a 1st-grade pill fire was a priceless treasure, not to mention a 4th-grade pill fire. This guy, he was still not satisfied? "Nonsense, of course it's not enough. We've already agreed that everyone will get a reward. But now you want to act shamelessly. Is there anyone like you? Too unkind. That's too unreasonable. Brother is going to find the old man to reason with." Wolf King immediately jumped up. A row of black lines appeared on Wang Hong's forehead. The mansion master was right. This bastard was a white-eyed wolf that couldn't be fed. He was too lazy to talk nonsense with Wolf King, opened the portal and left. Because talking nonsense with this ruffian wolf was simply looking for trouble. "Bastard, don't go. Brother will reason with you today," Wolf King roared. All right. He's already gone, what are you still yelling for?" Qin Feiyong rolled his eyes at it, grabbed the pill fire in the iron box, and sent it into the castle. The Nether Devil Flame also automatically recovered and rushed towards the pill fire. In a short while, it was swallowed by the Nether Devil Flame. Wolf King coldly snorted. "This old man is too deceitful. I won't help him anymore in the future." "You're complaining. This reward has already exceeded my expectations." Qin Feiyong laughed. In his opinion, the mansion master would at most give them high-tier battle arts. In the spiritual state, a top-tier battle manual was the best reward. But he did not expect it to be a 4th-grade alchemy fire. Suddenly, he looked down at Wolf King and instructed, "Continue to monitor the Lu family." Wolf King was stunned and asked why. "If you don't remove the roots when you cut the weeds, They will grow again when the spring breeze blows. A cold light flashed in Qin Feiyang's eyes. Wolf King pondered for a moment before coming to a realization. His eyes flashed with a fierce light. Next, Wolf King opened a portal and quickly left. Lowering his head and pondering for a moment, Qin Feiyang also opened a portal and descended in front of a large door. Above the door, there were two bold and powerful words that exuded a magnificent aura. The Dong family, the Lu clan, the Wang clan, and the Zheng clan had all been dealt with. Now only the Dong clan was left. Qin Feiyang, what are you doing here? The four burly men guarding the door said angrily. Qin Feiyang said indifferently, Old Monster Dong and Patriarch Dong are not dead yet, right? Take me to see them. The Patriarch and Patriarch have instructed us not to meet anyone. One of the burly men said in a deep voice. Qin Feiyang did not waste any more words and directly turned into a stream of light and rushed into the Dong clan. Stop. Although the Dong clan has declined, it is not a place where you can act wildly. The four men shouted and chased after him angrily. But they were only 9-star battle kings, how could they catch up to Qin Feiyang? 10 breaths. A hall entered Qin Feiyang's sight. It was the Dong clan's conference hall. It's Qin Feiyang. Stop right there. Wherever he passed, the servants and maids he met all changed their expressions. Why was this fiend here? However, no one could stop Qin Feiyang's footsteps. Just like that, he boldly barged into the conference hall. Inside the hall, Patriarch Dong, the Grand Elder and a group of elders were sitting around a table and seemed to be discussing something. Seeing Qin Feiyang enter without invitation, the group of people was furious. Patriarch Lu shouted, "What are you doing here? Don't be nervous. I'm just here to tell you that if you don't want to follow in the footsteps of the Lu clan, you should be sensible and leave the city," Qin Feiyang said lightly. What? Everyone stood up in unison and stared fixedly at Qin Feiyang, incomparably shocked and furious. Old Monster Dong shouted, "My Dong clan has already become like this. Why do you still want to kill us?" Qin Feiyang said, "If I want to kill you, I won't let you leave the city." Old Monster Dong said in a deep voice, "What if I say no?" Qin Feiyang said, "Didn't I tell you? The Lu clan is a good example for you. The Lu clan ended up like this because they angered the mansion master. My Dong clan has never done anything outrageous except for the enmity we have with you. If you dare to touch my Dong clan, the mansion master will not let you go easily." Old Monster Lu said in a deep voice, "Haha, I thought you would realize something after suffering such a big loss. I didn't expect you to be as stubborn as before. Do you really think Wang Hong found out everything about the Lu clan? I'll tell you clearly. If you don't leave the city, your Dong clan will end up worse than the Lu clan in less than half a month. That's all I have to say. Think carefully about what to do." After Qin Feiyang said that, he turned around and left. The Dong clan was still a threat. They had to be eliminated in advance. Inside the hall, it was dead silent at this moment. Whether it was Old Monster Dong, the Dong family head, or the Grand Elder, they were all enraged. How dare he? He's too arrogant. Ancestral Patriarch, let's go tell the mansion master about him now. The Grand Elder roared in indignation. Everyone calm down first. Patriarch Dong glanced at everyone and frowned at Old Monster Dong. Ancestral Patriarch, what Qin Feiyang said just now seems to be referring to something else. Yes. Old Monster Dong nodded and said in a deep voice. He means that Wang Hong didn't find out about the Lu clan. Then who? Is it really that little bastard? Patriarch Dong was surprised. Old Monster Dong pondered for a while and shook his head. This matter is related to the mansion master. Don't make any wild guesses. Grand Elder, let's go find the mansion master and ask him to help us. The Grand Elder opened the portal and the two of them walked in one after another. However, the mansion master didn't meet them. He only asked the guards to pass them a message. Leaving is a blessing, staying is a curse. The meaning was obvious. If they left the city, the Dong clan would not be in any danger in the future. But if they continued to stay in the city, they would be wiped out in the end. When Old Monster Dong understood the meaning of this sentence, he couldn't help but feel sad and helpless. Moreover, although the mansion master didn't say it explicitly, his attitude had already explained everything. The destruction of the Lu clan might really be because of Qin Feiyang. Back at the Dong clan, Old Monster Dong ordered his clansmen to pack up and prepare to leave the city. Time flew. The next day, everyone in the Lu clan, including the disciples of the Sacred Palace and the Inner Palace, left the city under the supervision of the 10 commanders. This also meant that the glory of the Lu clan had come to an end. After the 10 commanders left, the Wolf King, who had been hiding outside the city, followed the Lu clan's group all the way. Noon. The Lu clan stopped to rest on a plain. In the crowd, a man and a woman stood side by side, looking in the direction of the city. Their eyes were filled with grief. Both of them looked very young, especially the woman, who was a young girl. The young man was Lu Feng, whose balls were broken by Lu Hong. The young girl was Lu Tingting. Father is dead, the ancestor is dead, and brother Xingchen is also dead. What should the Lu clan do now? Lu Tingting sighed faintly. Lu Feng turned to look at her and said firmly, "Don't worry, we'll be back sooner or later." After this incident, both of them became mature overnight. That's right. As long as we're alive, hope will not be extinguished. We'll make the mansion master pay for everything he did to us in the future. A group of young people walked to the side of Lu Tingting and Lu Feng and looked in the direction of the city. They were the younger generation of the Lu clan and the last hope of the Lu clan. However, they didn't realize it at all. At this moment, in a forest outside the plain, there was a murderous god lurking. It was Wolf King. He stood on a branch of a big tree and scanned Lu Feng and the others. His eyes were filled with a bone-chilling murderous intent. Now that they were far away from the city, it was time to get rid of them. Lu clan, I didn't expect you to have such a day. However, just as Wolf King was about to strike, a cold voice suddenly echoed in the sky above the plain and lingered for a long time. Who is it? Lu Tingting and the others' faces changed as they hurriedly looked up. Wolf King also looked up, but he couldn't even see a shadow in the sky. What's going on? Wolf King mumbled. Everyone from the Lu clan scanned their surroundings in bewilderment. People of the Lu clan, you're all going to die today. The cold voice sounded again. Lu Feng shouted, "Who's playing tricks? Come out now." Roar! Bang! Along with the loud roars of beasts, the ground of the plain cracked open and huge creatures rushed out from the ground. Their bodies were black and their bodies were like whales. Their bodies were dozens of feet long and they were like towering mountains, ferocious and imposing. Sand whale. Wolf King's eyes trembled, filled with disbelief. Didn't sand whales live in the desert? Why would they appear here? The Lu clan members were also in a mess, because there were more than 20 sand whales that came out from the ground, and all of them were above the War Emperor realm. Kill them all. Suddenly, that cold voice sounded. A group of sand whales suddenly swooped down towards the Lu clan members. Only one sand whale was floating in the air. Wolf King looked up and his pupils suddenly contracted. That sand whale was 2 to 3 times bigger than the other sand whales, and there was a person standing on the back of the sand whale. But that person was wearing a black mask and his face couldn't be seen clearly, but judging from his body shape, he should be a young man. A series of cries of agony could be heard. Wolf King looked down again. In the face of more than 20 sand whales, the people of the Lu family had no power to resist at all. In less than 10 breaths, more than half of them were killed and their blood dyed the mountains and rivers red. Damn it! Who the hell are you? 5 young men were furious and flew towards the masked man. These 5 people were from the Inner Palace and their strength was between 2 and 5-star war emperors. Currently, they were the strongest in the Lu clan. I'm the one who wants your lives, the masked man said coldly. The sand whale under his feet suddenly opened its mouth and swallowed the 5 people alive. Damn, even more ferocious than me? Chapter 446. Without the 5 combat emperors, the remaining members of the Lu family were vulnerable. Boom! Ah! A sand whale raised its huge tail and slammed it down, smashing a few servants into meat paste on the spot. Another sand whale opened its bloody mouth and swallowed more than a dozen people like a whale swallowing a cow. The cruel scene was unbearable to watch. Who are you? Did Qin Feiyang send you here? Can you tell us why you killed us? Lu Feng and Lu Tingting were still alive. More than a dozen servants were protecting them, but they were not far from death. I have nothing to do with Qin Feiyang. But I want to thank him. He gave me a chance to eliminate the Lu family. Except for Lu Feng and Lu Tingting, kill everyone else. Under the masked man's command, the 2 sand whales charged forward, and the dozens of servants were instantly killed. Why didn't you kill us? What is your purpose? Lu Feng shouted. The masked man shouted, don't talk nonsense. Take them and let's go. The 2 sand whales swept their tails and carried Lu Tingting and Lu Tingting. Then they followed the masked man and rushed to the ground. Whoosh! Wolf King rushed out of the forest and shouted, where do you think you're going? The masked man was surprised. He turned around and looked at Wolf King. Then he said, don't fight. Slap it away. The huge tail of the sand whale beneath his feet swept across the sky and actually sent the Wolf King flying. Boom! Then, with a loud noise, the group of sand whales disappeared into the ground. Wolf King steadied himself and was about to chase after them. But then he stopped in the air and looked down at the broken plane. His eyes were full of doubts. Let little Qinzi take a look. He murmured and took out the image crystal. After receiving the message, Qin Feiyang immediately opened the portal and landed on the plane. What the hell is going on? Looking at the bloody scene below, Qin Feiyang's heart was in a perilous situation. Wolf King recounted the entire process in detail. Thank me? Qin Feiyang frowned. It seemed that this masked man was someone he was familiar with. But who could it be? Why did he kill everyone but leave Lu Feng and Lu Tingting alive? Wolf King suddenly asked, Little Qinzi, do you think these sand whales are the sand whales from the Desert of Death? Desert of Death? Qin Feiyang was puzzled. Wolf King said, it's the sand whale that guards that valley. Qin Feiyang finally remembered and said while shaking his head, the Death Desert is too far away from the spiritual state. It's impossible. Let's go and check it out. Whoosh! A man and a wolf swooped down and entered a crack. But just as they entered the crack, an old man in a red robe walked out from the other side of the forest. His hair and beard were fiery red like a ball of fire. If Qin Feiyang was here, he would definitely recognize this old man as the Grand Elder of the Dong family. The Grand Elder looked at the plain with a cold light in his eyes. Ancestral founder was right. Qin Feiyang won't let the Lu family go. Although he didn't kill these people, as long as he spreads the news, the truth will become the truth. Little bastard, just you wait. Even if the Dong family leaves the city, we won't let you have an easy time. The Grand Elder murmured to himself. Then he opened a portal and left quickly. Back to Qin Feiyang and Wolf King. They didn't find anything unusual along the way, and there was no movement at all. Qin Feiyang frowned and said, the sand whales move very fast underground. We can't catch up with them. We can only rely on your nose. Wolf King said, tracking them is not a problem, but digging holes is not my strength. Don't we have a guy who can dig holes? Qin Feiyang faintly smiled. With a thought, he took the pangolin out of the ancient castle. Do you think I only have the ability to dig holes in the ground? The pangolin could hear the sounds from outside the castle. Therefore, when it came out, it stared at the man and wolf with dissatisfaction. Is that not the case? You should be glad that you still have some value. Wolf King said with disdain. Damn white-eyed wolf, just you wait. The pangolin cursed and returned to its original form. The man and the wolf jumped on its back. Wolf King sniffed carefully and pointed to the left. Chase them from here. The pangolin immediately used its innate ability and chased after them. A moment later, Wolf King's pupils shrank and shouted, can you go faster? Otherwise the smell will disappear soon. The pangolin said angrily, I am only a 9-star battle king now. You want me to chase after a group of war emperors? You are simply forcing me. That's true. I can't expect much from you. Wolf King sighed. Fuck, do you really think I am a sick cat if I don't show my might? The pangolin cursed and a sharp tooth appeared out of thin air. It was its war soul. Boom! As soon as the sharp tooth appeared, it flew forward. The soil and stones were like dead wood. Unable to withstand a single blow. Its speed was at least 4 to 5 times faster than before. Wolf King was dumbfounded. The pangolin was indeed awesome at digging holes. After chasing for about an hour, Wolf King suddenly stretched out his claws and shouted, Stop! What's wrong? The pangolin was puzzled. The smell has dissipated. Wolf King looked a little angry. Qin Feiyong smiled and said, "Then forget it, I won't chase anymore." Although the pangolin's war soul was powerful, its cultivation was too weak compared to the sand whales. I still suspect that these sand whales are related to the sand whales in the Death Desert. Why don't we go and take a look? Wolf King suggested. Qin Feiyong pondered for a moment and nodded. "Okay, let's go take a look." In the past, he was weak and did not dare to stay in the valley. Now, he and Wolf King were both war emperors and had the strength to protect themselves. They could take the opportunity to study the skeleton. Wolf King asked, "Do you still remember the location of the valley?" "I remember." Qin Feiyong smiled. He would never forget that place for the rest of his life. The pangolin was curious and asked, "What valley?" "A very fun place." Wolf King chuckled. Qin Feiyong waved his hand and opened a portal. He took the lead and walked in. "A fun place?" The pangolin hurriedly withdrew its war soul and turned into the size of a palm. It followed behind Wolf King and rushed into the portal. In the next moment, Qin Feiyong and the two beasts arrived in the air above a scorching desert. Qin Feiyong and the Wolf King couldn't help but reminisce about the familiar temperature and environment. However, when they looked down, their expressions froze. What was going on? Where was the valley? The pangolin scanned the area below. Other than the endless yellow sand, there were only fierce beasts. He asked in confusion, "Where is the valley you mentioned?" Wolf King said, "Little Qinzi, are you sure you didn't remember the wrong location?" "Impossible." Qin Feiyong shook his head. The pill scripture was found here. How could he remember it wrongly? "You guys wait here for me. I'll go look for it." The Wolf King transformed into a streak of light and disappeared like a bolt of lightning. Qin Feiyong took the pangolin and flew towards the sky. The higher he stood, the further he could see. However, when he flew to a height of 100,000 feet, he still could not see the shadow of the valley. What's going on? Qin Feiyong could not help frowning. Was it because of Elder Wan? At that time only he, the white-eyed wolf Ling Yunfei, Feng Ling Air, and Elder Wan had come to this valley. He took out the image crystal and quickly activated it. After a while, an old figure appeared. "Ah, why are you here?" Elder Wan looked at Qin Feiyong in surprise. Qin Feiyong said with a smile, "Senior, how have you been recently? I can eat and sleep. As for you, I heard from Yan Nanshan that you are doing well in the state capital. When are you going to take care of this old man too?" Elder Wan teased. Qin Feiyong shook his head and laughed. "Elder Wan, I'm looking for you this time because I want to ask you something." "What is it?" Elder Wan asked. Qin Feiyong said, "Do you still remember the valley in the Death Desert?" "Of course I do. How is it?" Elder Wan nodded and looked at him suspiciously. "I'm here now, but the valley has disappeared. Do you know what's going on?" Qin Feiyong frowned. "What? You're in the Death Desert?" Elder Wan was surprised. Qin Feiyong nodded. Elder Wan said with a smile, "Then later, you must come to Yen City to catch up with us." Qin Feiyong said, "I'll see. If I have time, I'll go." Elder Wan nodded and said with a smile, "That's right. After all, you're a big shot now. You must be very busy." Qin Feiyong was stunned and said with a wry smile, "Senior, can you answer my question first?" Elder Wan said, "The valley has disappeared long ago." "Disappeared long ago?" Qin Feiyong was shocked. "That's right. After I escorted you back, I went there with Yan Nanshan. But when we arrived at that place, the valley had disappeared. We also looked around, but we still couldn't find it. In the end, we could only give up." Elder Wan said. Qin Feiyong was surprised. How could such a big valley suddenly disappear without a trace? Elder Wan shook his head and said, "I'm also puzzled, but I can't find out the reason." Qin Feiyong frowned. "This is too weird." After glancing at the desert, Qin Feiyong looked up at the desert and asked, "Is he okay now?" In order to go to the state capital, that girl does nothing but cultivate. Now she has become a complete cultivation maniac. You should know why she is so eager to go to the state capital, right? Elder Wan sighed. Qin Feiyong was silent. Of course, he knew that Lin Yi wanted to go to the state capital for him. But for Lin Yi, he really had no feelings for her. He only had a sibling relationship. Qin Feiyong asked, how is her cultivation now? Elder Wan said, she just broke through to 9-star martial master not long ago. It's quite fast. Qin Feiyong smiled. Although Lin Yi's cultivation speed was not as fast as them, Lin Yi had not opened the door of potential. If she opened the door of potential, she would not be slower than Fatso and Lu Hong. After asking about Lin Yi's situation, Qin Feiyong turned off the image crystal. After a while, Wolf King broke through the air and shook his head. I didn't find it. Don't look for it. The valley has disappeared long ago. Qin Feiyong told Wolf King about the situation that Elder Wan said. What? Is there such a thing? This damn old man, why didn't you tell us earlier? We made a wasted trip. Wolf King was indignant. The pangolin said, according to this, the sand whales that appeared in the spiritual state are likely to be related to the mysterious valley. Don't jump to conclusions before figuring it out. You guys go to the castle first. I have to do something private. Qin Feiyong waved his hand and sent Wolf King and the pangolin into the castle. Then he opened a portal and walked in. The next moment, he appeared silently in a room. The layout of the room was simple. On the left there was a screen. Behind the screen a bed was faintly visible. On the right there was a wooden coffee table and chair. There was also a desk next to it. In front of the desk, a beautiful woman in white was sitting. She held an account book in her hand and looked down silently. She looked dignified, virtuous, and decent. Chapter 447. Qin Feiyong walked over quietly. Luo Qianxue was so engrossed that she didn't notice him. Of course, it was also related to Qin Feiyong's cultivation. After all, Qin Feiyong was many times stronger than Luo Qianxue. Aunt Xue. Suddenly, Qin Feiyong rushed up. Luo Qianxue was startled and the account book in her hand fell to the ground. Who's so rude? She was a little angry. But when she looked up and saw that it was Qin Feiyong, she was stunned. Wasn't this kid in the state capital? Why did he suddenly appear in front of her? She must have been a little tired recently and was hallucinating. She closed her eyes, raised her hands and rubbed her temples, treating Qin Feiyong as heir. Qin Feiyong was stunned and said helplessly, Aunt Xue, look carefully. The person standing in front of you is a living person. Luo Qianxue opened her eyes and looked at Qin Feiyong in surprise. Not hallucinating? Swish. She suddenly got up and said in surprise, why are you back? Qin Feiyong smiled and said, I have a small matter to deal with, so I came to see you. Come. Sit here. Luo Qianxue walked out from behind the desk, took Qin Feiyong's big hand, and walked to the tea table like a kind mother. Qin Feiyong liked this feeling very much, because every time he saw Luo Qianxue, he would feel very at ease. Buzz. However, at this moment, his image crystal made a sound, breaking this rare atmosphere. He frowned and said with a smile, Aunt Xue, wait a moment. Luo Qianxue turned to look at him in confusion. Someone is looking for me. I'll deal with it first. Qin Feiyong smiled, withdrew his big hand, and took out the image crystal. Wang Hong's silhouette immediately appeared. Why is he looking for me? Qin Feiyong was suspicious in his heart. He cupped his hands and said, Greetings, Commander. Wang Hong asked, where are you now? Qin Feiyong said, outside. Wang Hong said, come to the inner hall immediately. Is there anything important? Qin Feiyong was puzzled. We'll talk about it when you're here. After Wang Hong finished speaking, he turned off the image crystal. What happened? Qin Feiyong frowned. Luo Qianxue asked, is there any trouble? Don't worry, it's fine. Qin Feiyong smiled and comforted her. He took out 6 potential pills, 4 potential pills, and 2 9-chu yellow dragon pills and handed them to Luo Qianxue. 5 Dan veins. Luo Qianxue was shocked. You and Yi will split these pills equally. Qin Feiyong explained the effects of the 3 pills to Luo Qianxue in detail. After listening to the story, Luo Qianxue shook her head and said, this is too precious. I can't take it. You can keep it. Qin Feiyong smiled and said, Aunt Xue, don't be so polite with me. You're treating me like an outsider. All right. Luo Qianxue put away the pills and said, work hard in the state capital. Fathers don't mess with you, don't mess with them either. Understand? Yes. Qin Feiyong nodded and opened a portal. Help me tell Yi to take care of herself. You too. We will. Luo Qianxue smiled. After that, Qin Feiyong didn't stay any longer. He stepped into the portal and soon disappeared without a trace. This child has grown up. If Qingzhu didn't die, she would probably be able to enter the state capital now. Sigh. Luo Qianxue sighed deeply. There was a touch of pain between her brows. Inner hall. Above the Pillfire Hall, Qin Feiyong appeared out of thin air. He immediately saw 3 figures standing in the square outside the Pillfire Hall. They were Wang Hong, the Pill Hall Master, and the Martial Hall Master. The 3 of them didn't look very good. Swish. Qin Feiyong swooped down and landed in front of the 3. He looked at them suspiciously and cupped his hands. Greetings, Commander and Hall Masters. The Martial Hall Master's eyes turned cold. He asked, tell me the truth. Where did you go just now? Qin Feiyong said, I went out for some matters. What happened? The Martial Hall Master said, not long ago, the Lu clan was exterminated on a plain outside the city. Was it you? Huh. Qin Feiyong was shocked. How did they know? The Martial Hall Master said in a deep voice, it seems like it was really you. Qin Feiyong frowned. Wait, how can you be so sure that it was me? You are the one who has the deepest enmity with the Lu clan in the entire state capital. Who else could it be if not you? The Martial Hall Master sneered. Qin Feiyong raised his eyebrows and said, you have no evidence. Isn't it too hasty for you to make such a conclusion? What's wrong with this person? Back in the Sacred Hall, he had targeted him many times. Now he was targeting him? He really didn't know when he had offended this person. Wang Hong looked at the Martial Hall Master and said, although Qin Feiyong is indeed a suspect, it is indeed too arbitrary to sentence him to death without any evidence. The Martial Hall Master said, do you think he will admit it? I say, is there something wrong with you? He is a disciple of the Pillfire Hall. I should be the one to question him. Since when is it your turn? The Pill Hall Master frowned. He couldn't stand the Martial Hall Master's attitude. The Martial Hall Master's eyes darkened. He sneered and said, all right, I will see what you can get out of him today. You don't have to worry about that. The Pill Hall Master glanced at him indifferently. He looked at Qin Feiyong and said, tell me, where were you before this? Qin Feiyong glanced at the 3 of them. His eyes were flickering. If he told the truth, even if he didn't do it, the Martial Hall Master would still insist that he did it. However, if he lied and was found out, it would be even more troublesome. Wang Hong's eyes flashed and said, you must tell the truth. That's right. I did ask the white-eyed wolf to follow me. Qin Feiyong nodded. Do you believe me now? The Martial Hall Master sneered. Qin Feiyong frowned and said, can you let me finish? The Martial Hall Master reached out his hand and smiled. Say it. I will see what excuses you can come up with. Qin Feiyong looked at him with a gloomy look. He looked at Wang Hong and the Pill Hall Master and said, although I did have the intention to kill them, I didn't kill the Lu clan's people. Then who did it? Wang Hong asked. Qin Feiyong said, a masked man and more than 20 sand whales. I was tracking them previously, but I didn't manage to catch up with them. Sand whales. Wang Hong and the Pill Hall Master looked at each other with a trace of doubt in their eyes. Qin Feiyong said, the white-eyed wolf witnessed the entire process of the masked man slaughtering the Lu clan's people. That man seemed to have some deep hatred with the Lu clan. Oh right, Lu Tingting and Lu Feng didn't die. Wang Hong's eyes narrowed and said, where are they? Qin Feiyong said, they were kidnapped by the masked man. I don't know where they are now. What a lame excuse. The Martial Hall Master sneered. Qin Feiyong clenched his fists and said angrily, I'm just curious. How did I offend you? Can you tell me so that I can die knowing why? Presumptuous. The Martial Arts Hall Master flew into a rage and sent a slap towards Qin Feiyong. That's enough. You don't have to worry about my Pillfire Hall's business. Get lost now. The Pill Hall Master yelled and blocked the Martial Hall Master's arm. All right, I don't care. However, this matter has already caused a commotion in the city. I'd like to see how you're going to deal with it. The martial hall master snorted and left. A commotion in the city? Qin Feiyong was stunned. He frowned and said, Commander Hall Master, this matter just happened not long ago. How did it spread in the city? Wang Hong said, we're also puzzled. It feels like someone is purposely spreading the news. Strange. Only the white-eyed wolf and I were there at that time. The masked man couldn't have spread the news himself. Could it be that there were other people hiding nearby? Qin Feiyong whispered and was puzzled. Wang Hong sighed and said, it doesn't matter if you did it or not. You can't get away with it this time. Why? Qin Feiyong said. Because everyone thinks that you did it. If we don't find the culprit, I'm afraid you'll have to be the scapegoat for the rest of your life. Wang Hong said. Actually, even if you did it, we won't say anything. After all, the Liu clan is dispensable now. However, the thing is, this matter has already been exposed. If we still choose to keep quiet, we won't be able to explain it to the world. The Pill Hall Master said. Qin Feiyong nodded and said, I understand. I'll find the culprit as soon as possible. There's no need for that. The Mansion Master has already arranged for other people to investigate. You just have to wait for the news. However, during this period of time you have to stay in the prison. This is the Mansion Master's order. The Mansion Master said that if you stay outside, you might cause trouble again. Wang Hong said. Prison. Qin Feiyong's eyes trembled. Wang Hong smiled and said, don't be nervous. When we catch the culprit, I'll let you out immediately. Huff. Qin Feiyong took a deep breath and nodded, all right, I'll go. However, can you tell me who's going to investigate this matter? The new city lord of the East City. I know what you're worried about. Don't worry. He's a rogue cultivator. Currently, other than the Mansion Master, he doesn't interact with anyone else. He won't harm you. Wang Hong said. That's good. Qin Feiyong nodded. Then let's go. Wang Hong opened a portal and walked in first. Qin Feiyong nodded at the Pill Hall Master and followed him into the portal. In the next moment, Qin Feiyong and Wang Hong appeared in front of the prison. Greetings, Commander. The 10 guards outside the door bowed and saluted. Qin Feiyong looked at them. They were all familiar faces. Fan Jian, who helped Fatso in the past, was still there too. However, when Qin Feiyong looked at the person in the lead, his expression immediately stiffened. It was Wei Zhongyang. Currently, Wei Zhongyang was wearing a full set of armor. He didn't look like he was in a mess anymore. He looked energetic. The previous guard captain was killed by Yan Nanshan and Ruffian Lang. Since then the position has been empty. Some time ago, I suddenly thought of Wei Zhongyang. Seeing that he's quite strong, I let him be the guard captain. Also, he said that he had let go of the past grudges and wanted to apologize to you face to face. Wang Hong explained with a smile. Yeah, it's better to make friends than enemies. Wei Zhongyang nodded and looked at Qin Feiyong. He cupped his hands and said, I was wrong in the past. I sincerely apologize to you. I hope you can forgive me. Qin Feiyong looked at Wei Zhongyang. His eyes were flickering. He knew this person too well. Chapter 448. Seeing that Qin Feiyong remained silent, Wei Zhongyang could not help but look at Wang Hong helplessly. Wang Hong smiled. Qin Feiyong, you see that he's quite sincere. Why don't you give me some face and accept his apology? Commander, you're exaggerating. Qin Feiyong smiled faintly and looked at Wei Zhongyang. I'm not a calculative person. Since you've repented, let's forget about what happened in the past. Thank you, Brother Qin. Wei Zhongyang cupped his hands and looked as if he was relieved of a heavy burden. Let's see how long you can pretend. Qin Feiyong sneered inwardly. A smile appeared on Wang Hong's face. He looked at Wei Zhongyang and said, Bring Qin Feiyong in and lock him up. Wei Zhongyang was stunned and asked in surprise, Did Brother Qin do something wrong? Wang Hong shook his head. It's because of the extermination of the Liu family. Wei Zhongyang suddenly understood. He looked at Qin Feiyong and asked, Commander, what about the shackles? Do everything according to the rules. Wang Hong said, I understand. Wei Zhongyang nodded and took out a token. He turned around and opened the stone door. Then, he stepped aside and said with a smile, Brother Qin, please. Qin Feiyong nodded and looked at the other guards. One of the guards gave Qin Feiyang a look. This person was Fan Jian, who helped Fatso in the past. Was Fan Jian hinting at him to be careful of Wei Zhongyang? Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed and he walked into the prison. Wei Zhongyang followed closely behind. After entering the prison, Wei Zhongyang turned around and closed the stone door. At the same time, a cold light flashed in the depths of his eyes. But on the surface there was nothing strange. He turned to look at Qin Feiyang and said with a smile, "Brother Qin, why don't you stay in cell number 5? Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. If he remembered correctly, Wei Zhongyang was imprisoned in cell number 5 before. Sure. He wanted to see how long this person could keep up the act. Wei Zhongyang walked over and opened the stone door of cell number 5. When Qin Feiyang entered the cell, Wei Zhongyang took out a pair of shackles and said, "Brother Qin, please cooperate with us." Qin Feiyang stretched out his hands. Wei Zhongyang walked forward and put the shackles on Qin Feiyang's wrists and ankles. Immediately, Qin Feiyang felt that the chains were emitting a mysterious power that sealed his battle qi. After Wei Zhongyang confirmed that there was no mistake, he took 2 steps back and asked with a smile, "How do you feel?" "Not bad." Qin Feiyang shrugged. "Not bad." The corner of Wei Zhongyang's lips curled up as he mocked. "I didn't think you would have such a day." "Just as I expected." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "What do you mean?" Wei Zhongyang frowned. Qin Feiyang shook his head and sighed. "I thought you would continue to endure, but I didn't expect you to reveal your true colors so quickly. So you've already seen through it." Qin Feiyang is indeed Qin Feiyang. "But so what? Now you're a prisoner and I'm the captain of the guards. I can do whatever I want to you, understand?" Wei Zhongyang sneered. "What do you think you can do to me? I have to say that you're really unwise. After fighting with me for so long, you should know my methods very well. Believe it or not, Fatso and the others have already recorded everything you said just now. When I tell Wang Hong, what do you think will happen to you?" Qin Feiyang looked at Wei Zhongyang playfully. Wei Zhongyang's pupils shrank and he said with a smile, "Brother Qin, don't be angry. I was just joking with you just now. Don't take it seriously." "I was also joking," Qin Feiyang said. "Brother Qin is still as humorous as ever," Wei Zhongyang said with a smile. Qin Feiyang said, "If there's nothing else, you can leave. There's one more thing. Brother Qin, please hand over your Qinkuan bag. Don't misunderstand. This is the rule." Commander Wang Hong said before that everything should be done according to the rules. Wei Zhongyang said. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and said, "Is there a rule that says I have to hand over my Qinkuan bag?" "Yes." Wei Zhongyang nodded. "I'm afraid that won't do." Qin Feiyang shook his head. Wei Zhongyang frowned and said with a smile, "Brother Qin, don't make things difficult for me." "I'm not making things difficult for you. Because even if Wang Hong is here, I won't hand over my Qinkuan bag." Qin Feiyang said expressionlessly. What a joke. Chang Shui, the mysterious bone, and the gold coins were all in the Qinkuan bag. How could he hand it over to Wei Zhongyang? Wei Zhongyang hesitated for a moment and said with a smile, "If you don't want to hand it over, so be it. After all, we're old friends. I'll make an exception for you in private." "Thank you very much then." Qin Feiyang put on a fake smile. Wei Zhongyang waved his hands and said, "Don't be so polite. I still have something to deal with. I'll leave first. Let's have a few drinks when we're free." "Sure." Qin Feiyang nodded and smiled. "Goodbye." Wei Zhongyang cupped his fists and turned to leave the cell. After closing the stone door, Wei Zhongyang's expression darkened, and he glared at the stone door coldly with a cold glint in his eyes. He had to get Qin Feiyang's Qinkuan bag. That was because the elixir formula for the potential elixir, the dagger, and the mysterious bone were definitely in Qin Feiyang's Qinkuan bag. At the same time, in the cell, Qin Feiyang's eyes shone with a sinister glint. Swoosh! His figure flashed and he entered the ancient castle. Fatso said immediately, "Boss, you can't trust Wei Zhongyang easily." "I know." Qin Feiyang nodded. Fatso smiled and said, "It's good that you know. What about now? Do you plan to stay in the prison forever?" "I'll stay here for now. I can take the opportunity to cultivate." With a thought from Qin Feiyang, Chang Shui flew out of the Qinkuan bag and hovered in front of Fatso. Fatso understood and grabbed Chang Shui. cutting at the shackles on his legs and hands. Wait! The pangolin's gaze changed and he hurriedly said, Qin Feiyang, you have to think carefully. Cutting off the shackles on your legs and hands is against the rules. Rules? Little brother, you're still too inexperienced. Do you think we're people who follow the rules? Wolf King sneered. Fatso, Lu Hong and Qin Feiyang also smiled. The pangolin was stunned. He looked at the three of them and Wolf King, shaking his head and smiling bitterly. All right, pretend that I didn't say anything. Indeed, these guys were not afraid of the heavens or the earth. In front of them, rules were simply non-existent. Clang! Fatso waved his hand, and Chang Shui cut the two iron chains easily. Qin Feiyang's body lightened. He stretched his muscles and took Chang Shui from Fatso and said with a smile, Go into seclusion. Try to break through a small realm before we find the real culprit. It's a piece of cake. The pangolin chuckled. After opening the door of potential, it was now 100 times more confident. Outside the city, in a valley located deep in the mountains. In the center of the valley there was a small lake. The clear lake water reflected dazzling waves under the sunlight. And outside the valley, sand whales floated in the air and looked at the lake. Without exception, their huge pupils were filled with respect. There were 3 people standing at the edge of the lake. One of them was the masked man who massacred the Lu family. The other 2 were Lu Feng and Lu Tingting. At this moment, the brother and sister were looking at the valley in surprise, and there was a trace of panic between their brows. The masked man bowed to the lake and said respectfully, Master, I have brought them back. There are people. Lu Feng and Lu Tingting looked at the lake. Whoosh! 2 pentagrams the size of a baby's palm flew out of the lake and into the heads of Lu Feng and Lu Tingting like lightning. Ah! The 2 of them screamed at once. They felt like their heads were about to explode, and their blood was burning. The masked man said coldly, Don't struggle or you will die. Soon, the pain that enveloped Lu Feng and Lu Tingting quickly subsided. The 2 of them got up from the ground and looked at each other. They didn't find anything unusual. What was going on? The masked man said, Your lives are now in the hands of Master. Master only needs to think and you will die. What? The 2 of them turned pale with fright. Who the hell are you? Lu Feng roared. Who am I? The masked man's eyes flashed coldly, and he slowly took off his mask. How is this possible? It's you. Seeing the masked man's face, Lu Feng and Lu Tingting looked like they had seen a ghost, and their eyes were full of disbelief. The masked man put on his mask again and sneered. If Master didn't ask me to spare your lives, you would have been swallowed alive by the sand whale. Then who is your master? Why didn't he kill us? Lu Feng and Lu Tingting were puzzled. Master must have his reasons for not killing you. You just need to do as Master says. The masked man glanced at the 2 of them coldly, and then looked at the lake. He bowed and said, Master, do you have any other instructions? Bring me the Dong family, the 10 elders of the Dong family, the head of the Dong family, and the ancestor of the Dong family. As for the rest of the Dong family, don't leave anyone alive. Kill them all. In addition, bring back Lu Xingchen's body. I need it. A cold and emotionless voice sounded in the minds of the 3 of them. Yes. The masked man bowed and replied. Lu Feng and Lu Tingting were very surprised. Suddenly, their bodies trembled, and they immediately held their heads and howled. It was as if all the blood vessels in their bodies had burst, and blood arrows were spurting out from their pores. The masked man shouted, Why aren't you begging for mercy? Do you want to die? Master, please spare our lives. We will complete the task. The 2 of them quivered, and hurriedly knelt on the ground and begged. As soon as the voice faded, the 2 of them felt the pain disappear. The masked man said, Go quickly. The masked man bowed and said, Master, I have something to say. The masked man said, Say it. Although the head of the Dong family and the old monster were destroyed by Qin Feiyang, the cultivation of the 10 elders of the Dong family is still there. According to my investigation, they are all 8-star combat emperors and 9-star combat emperors. I'm afraid that the 3 of us and the sand whale won't be able to take them down. The masked man said, What you said makes sense. On the east side of the valley, there is a black rock. Behind the rock is a cave, and there are 2 fierce beasts sleeping inside. You go and wake them up with your blood. They will help you. Chapter 449. A Sleeping Berserk Beast? The masked man Lu Tingting and Lu Feng looked towards the east in surprise. What entered their line of sight was a mountain peak that was about 100 feet tall. At the foot of the mountain there was indeed a black rock. However, they did not sense the aura of a berserk beast there. Don't ask anything, let's go. The masked man coldly glanced at Lu Tingting and Lu Feng, then rushed towards the black rock. Lu Tingting and Lu Feng looked at each other and had no choice but to follow. Arriving in front of the rock, the masked man punched it, and the rock shattered. That moment, a large cave entrance appeared in front of the three of them. The cave was extremely dark, like a bottomless abyss, emitting a sinister and strange aura. If there really are berserk beasts, will they eat us? Lu Feng was a little afraid. Even if they eat us, we have no choice, the masked man said coldly and strode into the cave. He stretched out his right arm and true qi surged in his palm, condensing into a ball of light. True qi. Lu Tingting was slightly stunned, and asked in surprise, "You are only a martial ancestor?" "That's right. But Master said that I will be able to step into the War Emperor realm soon," the masked man said coldly. At the same time he sized up the cave. The diameter of the cave was 2 to 3 meters, and it extended all the way inside, with no end in sight. "Don't dawdle, follow me." The masked man glanced at the two of them and walked deeper into the cave. Lu Feng and Lu Feng swallowed their saliva and braced themselves to follow. Lu Tingting asked in a low voice, "Why are you working for him? Just because he can help you break through to the War Emperor realm? You are too naive and underestimate Master's ability. Do you know where Qin Feiyang's potential pill recipe came from?" The masked man sneered. Where did it come from? The two of them were surprised. This was not only a question in their hearts, but also a question that the entire spiritual state wanted to know. The masked man said, "The potential pill recipe belongs to Master." What? Lu Tingting and Lu Feng's expressions changed. But how did the pill recipe get into Qin Feiyang's hands? Master never mentioned it. Don't ask. If you anger Master, no one can save you, the masked man said. Lu Tingting and Lu Feng looked at each other, their eyes filled with bewilderment. What was the relationship between Qin Feiyang and Master? If Qin Feiyang and Master were friends, then why didn't Master kill them? But if it was an enemy, how could the pill formula of the potential pill fall into the hands of Qin Feiyang? About 10 breaths passed. The masked man frowned. Do you feel that the temperature has changed? The two of them stared blankly for a moment before they carefully sensed their surroundings. True enough. The temperature here was a little cold. Furthermore, the deeper they went, the colder the temperature became. It didn't even take long before a layer of frost condensed on their faces and hair. A moment later, the three of them were about 100 meters deep. The walls of the cave were covered with a thick layer of ice. It was even colder here. The three of them couldn't help but curl up, and their teeth were chattering. The air exhaled from his nostrils had also turned into white mist. Another 100 meters deep. Suddenly, the masked man stared at a certain spot in front of him as if he had seen a monster. His pupils suddenly contracted as he reached out his hand and shouted, "Stop!" Puzzled, Lu Feng and Zhang Xian looked over. Immediately, their faces couldn't help but turn pale. More than 10 meters in front of them was an ice cellar of about 10 feet. And in the ice cellar, there were two ferocious beasts sealed in ice. One was the white jade demon snake. The other was the sand whale. The white jade demon snake was as thick as an arm and 2 meters long. Just like its name, its entire body was as white as jade. But what was surprising was that between its eyebrows, there was a white horn as thick as a thumb. And that sand whale, compared to the sand whales outside the valley, was many times smaller, almost only 2 to 3 meters long. But its body was covered with yellow scales. One could feel that the scales were very hard through the ice. Lu Feng swallowed his saliva and said, "Their strength should be very terrifying. Isn't this better?" The masked man's eyes lit up, and he said, "As long as they are here, it will be easy to take down those people from the Dong family and find Lu Xingchen's body." After he finished speaking, he took out a dagger, ran into the ice cellar, and cut a wound on his wrist without hesitation. Blood immediately gushed out. Lu Tingting and Zhang Xian looked at each other and immediately ran up, because they saw the hope of revenge. Soon, the ice that sealed the two ferocious beasts was dyed blood red. Crack! Accompanied by a loud sound, the ice that sealed the two ferocious beasts suddenly exploded. Two terrifying fierce power also roared out. Lu Tingting and the other two were sent flying on the spot, vomiting blood. The white jade demon snake and the sand whale were now suspended in the void, absorbing the blood of the three people. 3 breaths later, they suddenly opened their eyes, and there was a sense of vicissitudes in their fierce eyes. Are you the ones who woke us up? The two fierce beasts looked down at Lu Tingting and the other two indifferently. The masked man knelt down on one knee and said, "Two lords, Master asked us to wake you up." Master? The two fierce beasts' eyes were a little confused. Demon Snake Emperor, Sand Whale Emperor, thousands of years have passed. It's time for you to wake up. Right at this moment, the mysterious man's voice came into the cave. Master! The two fierce beasts' eyes trembled, and they immediately rushed out of the cave like crazy. Master, are you not dead? They scanned the valley, and their eyes were filled with a mist. Yes, I'm not dead. The heavens didn't kill me. I'm back. The mysterious man's voice rushed out of the lake and echoed in the valley for a long time, full of resentment and unyielding. I'm really not dead. The two fierce beasts were wild with joy and rushed toward the lake. Don't come to see me now. Go and assist them immediately, and do all the things I told you to do. Remember, your current strength is not as good as before. Don't let your emotions affect your decisions, and don't let anyone find you, especially the spiritual state mansion master and the woman from Butterfly Valley, the mysterious man said. Yes. The two fierce beasts stopped in the void and respectfully responded. At the same time, Dong Family Conference Hall. Old Monster Dong Family Head, the second elder, and the others all lowered their heads silent. Haha! Suddenly, a loud laugh came from outside. The Grand Elder walked into the hall with a red face. How is it? Old Monster Dong and the others immediately looked up at him, their eyes full of expectation. The Grand Elder said, I just received news that Qin Feiyong has been sent to prison. Good. The group of people immediately slapped the table and cheered. Dong Family Head said in surprise, Grand Elder, are we still going to leave the city now? Of course not. Qin Feiyong can't even protect himself. What can he do to us? The second elder and the others sneered. But Old Monster Dong hesitated. Seeing this, the Grand Elder asked suspiciously, Grand Elder, do you have any concerns? Yes. Old Monster Dong nodded and sighed. Although Qin Feiyong has been sent to prison, his talent is there. The mansion master can't kill him. Hearing this, the smiles on the faces of the second elder and the others froze, and they fell silent again. Actually, you don't have to worry at all. But suddenly, a faint laughter sounded, and a middle-aged man in armor walked into the conference hall. Who are you? Old Monster Dong and the others looked over with bewilderment in their eyes. The middle-aged man smiled and said, I am Wei Zhongyang, the current guard captain of the prison. Guard captain? Everyone in the Dong family looked at each other with a trace of doubt in their eyes. The Dong family head stood up and greeted him, cupping his hands and saying, I wonder what Brother Wei meant by what you said just now? Wei Zhongyang laughed and said, What I mean is, there is no need to be afraid of Qin Feiyong. The Dong family head said, not only is his talent in alchemy astonishing, his talent in martial arts is unparalleled. How can we not be afraid? Wei Zhongyang sneered and said, That's right, but he also has a weakness. What weakness? Everyone was surprised. I understand him very well. Although he looks cold and ruthless on the surface and his methods are vicious, he is actually very loyal and righteous. As long as we capture the people around him, he will definitely not shoot the rat for fear of breaking the vases. At that time, not to mention lifting your ban, even if you ask him to commit suicide on the spot, he won't dare to disobey. Wei Zhongyang sneered. The Dong family head's eyes lit up, but then he frowned and said, The people around Qin Feiyong are all hiding in his treasure. How are we going to capture them? No. Wei Zhongyang shook his head and sneered. There is definitely a place where there must be someone Qin Feiyong cares about. Where? The Dong family head asked. The county of Yin. Wei Zhongyang's eyes flashed coldly. Prison. A black armored guard hurried to the door of the fifth cell and opened the stone door. But when he saw that there was no one in the cell, the guard couldn't help but frown. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something and shouted, "Qin Feiyong, it's Fan Jian. Come out." After a while, Qin Feiyong appeared out of thin air. He cupped his hands and said with a smile, "Brother Fan, thank you for your previous warning." "It's nothing. Don't mention it." Fan Jian waved his hand and looked back outside the door. He whispered, "I came to find you because I have something to tell you." "What is it?" Qin Feiyong was surprised. Fan Jian said, "Wei Zhongyang just went to the Dong family." "The Dong family?" Qin Feiyong frowned and asked in confusion, "Why did he go to the Dong family?" "I don't know about that. But I guess it has something to do with you, so I came to inform you. Maybe I'm just being paranoid." Fan Jian said. "Paranoid?" Qin Feiyong frowned. Wei Zhongyang going to the Dong family was definitely not a good thing. He counted 1 billion gold coins and put them in a cosmos bag. "Thank you for telling me, Brother Fan. This is a little token of my appreciation. Please accept it." Fan Jian's eyes lit up and he took it into his arms without hesitation. He smiled and said, "I haven't seen Fatso for a long time. Ask him to come out and have a few drinks with me when he's free." "Okay." Qin Feiyong nodded. "Then I'll leave first." Fan Jian smiled, then turned and walked outside. But suddenly, Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed, and he hurriedly said, "Brother Fan, I have a presumptuous request. I told you not to be so polite. If you continue to be like this, I'll get angry." Fan Jian pretended to be angry. Qin Feiyong smiled embarrassedly and said, "Brother Fan, can you give me the key to open the prison stone door and the prison's gate?" "What? Don't tell me you want to escape." Chapter 450. Shoo! Qin Feiyong hurriedly made a shushing gesture and said in a low voice, "Brother Fan, I'm just being cautious. Don't worry, I won't drag you into this." Fan Jian frowned. Qin Feiyong cupped his hands and said, "Please help me, Brother Fan. Sorry, I can't give it to you. Because this is too important. If someone finds out, even if you don't want to drag me into this, I'll lose my life. Besides, the stone door can only be opened from the outside. It's useless even if you have the key." Fan Jian shook his head. "Is that so?" Qin Feiyong couldn't help but feel disappointed. He smiled and said, "If that's the case, then I won't make things difficult for Brother Fan." Fan Jian said, "Don't worry. If there's any news, I'll inform you as soon as possible." "Thank you, Brother Fan." Qin Feiyong cupped his hands and thanked him. This fatty's ability is not small. How long has it been? He actually has such a close relationship with Fan Jian. Fan Jian helped to keep an eye on Wei Zhongyang's movements partly because of his current reputation. Fan Jian wanted to curry favor with him. The other half was because Fan Jian and Fatso were close. After Fan Jian left, Qin Feiyong also entered the castle. He looked at Fatso and the others and said in a low voice, "You all heard it, right? Tell me what you think." Wolf King said, "I think that Wei Zhongyang went to the Dong family to join forces with them to deal with us." No. If Wei Zhongyang really wanted to find someone to join forces with, he wouldn't have gone to the Dong family. After all, the Dong family has declined and can't help him much. Fatso immediately rejected Wolf King's opinion. Wolf King said unhappily, "Then tell us, why did he go to the Dong family?" "I don't know." Fatso shook his head. Lu Hong suddenly said, "Didn't you all miss a very important point?" "What?" Qin Feiyong and the others looked at her in surprise. Lu Hong said, "Wei Zhongyang knows our background." His words awakened the dreamer. Qin Feiyong and Fatso's eyes trembled. Fatso sprang to his feet and said hastily, "Boss, hurry up and inform Yan Nanshan to keep an eye on the Dong clan." Qin Feiyong nodded and immediately took out an image crystal, his battle chi surging. However, he waited for a long time, but there was no reaction from the image crystal. What happened? Qin Feiyong was bewildered. Fatso thought for a moment, and his expression suddenly changed. He exclaimed in shock, "Not good." Fan Jian told Fat Lord before that the prison can block the communication of the image crystals. It can't open the portal either. What? Qin Feiyong's expression suddenly changed. He couldn't send any messages, and the cell must be soundproof. He couldn't ask Fanjian for help. What should he do? Whoosh! He left the castle and came to the prison cell. He looked at the pitch-black stone door. Boom! Qin Feiyong's battle chi surged as he punched at the stone door. However, the stone door only trembled a little. It's so hard. Qin Feiyong frowned and waved his hand to take out the Chang Shui. Chang Shui could even cut the mysterious bone easily, let alone the stone door. He walked to the front of the stone door, and with a light stroke of pale snow a crack appeared. Soon, bang! With a loud bang the entire stone door collapsed. Qin Feiyong walked out of the prison cell. He didn't stop for a moment and went to the door of the prison. Boom! He slapped the door and it trembled slightly. Outside, Fanjian and the rest heard the noise and immediately turned to look at the door. Their faces were full of shock. Why did the door move? Was it an illusion? Boom! However, just as they were about to believe that it was an illusion, the stone door trembled slightly again. What happened? Could it be that someone escaped from the prison cell? The 9 of them were shocked. Could it be him? Fanjian muttered to himself and a figure appeared in his mind. One of the guards shouted, "Hurry up and inform the captain that someone escaped from prison." Wait. Fanjian stretched out his hand and said in a deep voice, "You all know the captain's temper. If no one escapes, we won't have a good time." Then what should we do? The other 8 guards looked at him. Fanjian said, "Open the door first and see what's going on. But be careful. If someone really escapes, immediately send a message to the captain." The other 8 nodded. Immediately, the 9 of them took 2 steps back, their faces full of vigilance. An atmosphere of mutual hostility filled the air. Fanjian took out a black token and his battle chi surged. A pitch-black beam of light gushed out and merged into the door in front of them. Boom! The door slowly opened. A white figure suddenly entered their line of sight. It's really him. Fanjian's gaze trembled. This guy really wanted to escape from prison. Qin Feiyong, what are you doing? Fanjian roared with a stern expression. At the same time, another guard immediately took out an image crystal. Swish! Qin Feiyong's eyes were cold. Using the phantom steps, he landed in front of the guard in 1 step. His big hand reached out and crushed the image crystal. At the same time, Wolf King appeared out of thin air, its claws grabbing 2 ribs. Bang bang bang. It struck out like lightning and knocked out the other 8 guards. Fanjian glanced at the 8 people lying on the ground and frowned. Qin Feiyong, what exactly do you want to do? Qin Feiyong said, I have something urgent, I have to go out. Fanjian said, no, you are escaping from prison. The consequences will be very serious. Even if Commander Wang Hong has a good relationship with you, he won't be able to help you. I have no choice. Qin Feiyong shook his head. Fanjian looked at him deeply and said helplessly, then do it. Sorry for the offense. Qin Feiyong cupped his hands and said, then looked at Wolf King. Wolf King swung his ribs and hit the back of Fanjian's head. Fanjian's head was bleeding, and he fell to the ground and fainted. Aren't you too ruthless? Qin Feiyong frowned. If I don't be ruthless, he will be implicated. Wolf King rolled his eyes at him and urged, hurry up and send the message. Qin Feiyong took out the image crystal and quickly activated it. Soon, a phantom appeared. It was Luo Qianxue. Seeing Luo Qianxue's phantom appear, Qin Feiyong couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Luo Qianxue smiled and said, Feiyong, why did you send me a message again? Qin Feiyong said, Auntie Shui, things are a bit complicated. I don't have time to explain. Tell me your current location. I will come and pick you up right away. Wei Zhongyang wanted to deal with him now. There was no other way but to find the people closest to him. Luo Qianxue and Lin Yi were undoubtedly the targets. Pick me up. Luo Qianxue was taken aback. Qin Feiyong said, tell me quickly, otherwise your life may be in danger. Luo Qianxue was shocked and said, I am dealing with business now. Go to my lounge. I will be there right away. Okay. Qin Feiyong nodded, turned off the image crystal, took out a teleportation door, and was about to open it. Swish. However, at this moment a figure appeared out of thin air. It was Wei Zhongyang. Seeing the situation in front of the prison gate, Wei Zhongyang's expression changed and he shouted, Qin Feiyang, you actually escaped from prison. Boom! The aura of an 8-star combat emperor suddenly erupted. Damn it! You came back at the right time. Qin Feiyang was extremely annoyed. Wolf King transmitted his voice, Little Qinzi, don't talk nonsense with him. Kill him directly. There is no time for him to waste. You delay him. I will go to Yen City first. Find a chance to meet up with me later. Qin Feiyang secretly said and opened the teleportation door. Don't even think about escaping. Seeing this, Wei Zhongyang shouted coldly. His index finger pointed in the air. Battle Chi emerged and blasted toward the teleportation door. At the same time, he sneered in his heart. Escaping from prison was a serious crime. No matter how talented Qin Feiyang was, no one could protect him now. Humph! Trash! Wolf King snorted coldly and stood in front of the teleportation door. He smashed his bone and the battle chi immediately dissipated. Are you looking for death? Wei Zhongyang roared. You are the one who is looking for death. Wolf King sneered, stepped into the air, and charged toward Wei Zhongyang fiercely. At the same time, Qin Feiyang stepped into the teleportation door. Boom! But at this time, a terrifying aura loomed over the place. Whether it was Qin Feiyang or Wolf King, they were instantly imprisoned in the air. Who? A man and a wolf were shocked. Swish! A figure descended from the sky. It was none other than Wang Hong. Wang Hong glanced at Fan Jian and the others lying on the ground. His face suddenly darkened and he shouted, Qin Feiyang, ruffian wolf, what are you doing? Wei Zhongyang said, Commander, they want to escape from prison. Escape from prison? Wang Hong was puzzled. He understood the character of this man and wolf. It was impossible for them to do such a ridiculous thing. Could there be a reason? He looked at Qin Feiyang and Wolf King and frowned. Why do you want to escape from prison? Qin Feiyang said, Commander, I have something very important to do. Please make an exception. I promise that I will be back in less than an hour. What important thing? Wang Hong frowned. This? Qin Feiyang glanced at Wei Zhongyang and hesitated. Why is he looking at me? Wei Zhongyang frowned and cupped his hands. Commander, although Qin Feiyang is our old friend, escaping from prison is a serious crime. We cannot condone him. Wolf King said gloomily, Wei Zhongyang, you old bastard. I will kill you sooner or later. Wei Zhongyang was stunned and asked doubtfully, Did I provoke you? Still pretending? Wolf King was so angry that he laughed. He shouted, If you didn't provoke me, then tell us, why did you go to the Dong family? How did you know? Wei Zhongyang was surprised. Qin Feiyang's heart sank. He said in a low voice, Fatso, tell Yan Nanshan to go to the county of Yan immediately. Fatso in the castle heard and immediately sent a message to Yan Nanshan. Wolf King said coldly, It doesn't matter how I found out. What's important is why you went there. Wei Zhongyang said, I just went to visit the Dong family's old ancestor. Wolf King said, You have nothing to do with the Dong family. Why are you going to visit him? Wei Zhongyang said calmly, This is my personal matter. It has nothing to do with you. Wolf King sneered. Is that so? If I'm not wrong. White-eyed Wolf, stop talking. Qin Feiyang suddenly shouted and stopped Wolf King. He then said to Wang Hong, Commander, let's go back to the prison immediately. That's more like it. Remember, don't do stupid things like this again. It won't do you any good. Wang Hong's expression softened a lot, and he also withdrew his aura. Wolf King's body lightened. He looked at Qin Feiyang gloomily, then turned into a streak of light and landed on Qin Feiyang's shoulder. Qin Feiyang also turned and entered the prison. Wolf King said telepathically, Why didn't you let me say it? This is just our guess. If Wei Zhongyang didn't do it, it would put us in an awkward position. But I've already asked Fatso to send a message to Yan Nanshan. With Uncle Yan, there shouldn't be any accidents. Chapter 451. Just as Wei Zhongyang returned from the Dong family and stopped Qin Feiyang and Wolf King from leaving, two figures descended from the sky above Yen City. Both of them had square faces, extremely burly bodies, and filled with a valiant aura. Boom! The two of them looked down. and their aura suddenly erupted. Whoosh! Immediately, Danwang Hall, Martial Imperial Hall, Treasure Pavilion, and the royal family each had a figure rushing into the sky. They were the four giants of Yen City: Li Ji, Ji Shui, Zhang Yi, and Wu Yun. The four of them flew in front of the two burly men, with a hint of vigilance in their eyes. Li Ji cupped his hands and said, "May I ask who you are?" "Don't be nervous, we are from the state capital. We came to Yen City because Qin Feiyang asked us to pick up Luo Qianxue and Lin Yi to the state capital." The two burly men laughed. A hint of suspicion flashed in Li Ji's eyes. He cupped his hands and said, "May I ask why Qin Feiyang didn't come by himself? He is now in prison and can't come out." One of the burly men said, "Prison?" Ji Shui's face changed and asked, "Why is he in prison?" "This is the state capital's business. I won't tell you. Please hurry up, don't waste our time," the two burly men urged. Li Ji and Ji Shui looked at each other and nodded at the same time. "It's not that I don't believe you, but Lin Yi and Luo Qianxue are very important to Qin Feiyang. I have to confirm it," Li Ji said and took out the image crystal. "It's useless. He can't receive anyone's message in the prison he is in," the two burly men said and began to get impatient. Li Ji still tried. Sure enough, it was like throwing a stone into the sea. There was no response. Putting away the image crystal, Li Ji sized up the two of them and said, "Qin Feiyang is very thoughtful in everything he does. If he really called you here, he should have given you some kind of keepsake. May I ask if you two have it?" The two burly men raised their eyebrows. Boom! The pressure roared out and directly imprisoned the four. "I gave you face, but you don't want it. Answer me immediately. Where are Lin Yi and Luo Qianxue?" Both of their eyes were filled with killing intent. The expressions of Li Ji and the other three changed drastically. Ji Shui shouted, "You are not sent by Qin Feiyang. Who are you?" "Who are we?" "Jejia. Of course we are Qin Feiyang's mortal enemies. Tell me, where are Lin Yi and the others? Otherwise, don't blame us for being ruthless." The two of them laughed sinisterly. "Don't hurt them, I'm here." "And me." At this moment, two voices sounded almost at the same time. One came from the Martial Imperial Hall. One came from the Treasure Pavilion. It was Luo Qianxue and Lin Yi. The two of them stood on the roofs of the precious Treasure Pavilion and the Training Hall respectively. The two macho men immediately dispersed and rushed toward Luo Qianxue and Lin Yi. "Why are you still standing there? Run!" Li Ji and Ji Shui hastily shouted. Wu Yun and Luo Qianxue looked surprised. Who did Qin Feiyang offend in the state capital? "If you dare to run, we will destroy Yen City and kill everyone." The two macho men grinned sinisterly. Swish! But at this moment, another figure descended over the Martial Imperial Hall out of thin air. It was Yan Nanshan. "You dare!" As soon as Yan Nanshan saw the two macho men, he yelled violently. The pressure of Battle Master was overwhelming. "Yan Nanshan, why are you here?" The two macho men's faces suddenly turned pale. Yan Nanshan, Ji Shui, and the other three were taken aback. They looked up and were overjoyed. Yan Nanshan nodded to the four people across the air, then looked at the two macho men and said in a deep voice, "Qin Feiyang sent me a message saying that someone is coming to Yen City to cause trouble. I didn't believe it, but I didn't expect it to be true." "Impossible. He is in prison. He can't send a message to the people outside." The two macho men looked incredulous. "There is nothing impossible in the world. I haven't seen you guys in the state capital. Tell me who sent you guys." "Is it the Dong family?" Yan Nanshan shouted. "Yan Nanshan, I advise you not to meddle in other people's business." Suddenly, a hoarse voice sounded. It was erratic and difficult to capture the correct location. "Who is it?" Yan Nanshan yelled, his eyes like lightning sweeping in all directions. Boom! On a mountain peak outside the city, a terrifying aura emerged. Following closely, a dazzling battle chi, like a torrent of beasts, rolled towards Yen City. "Battle Master!" Yan Nanshan was shocked and shouted, "What do you want to do?" "Destroy Yen City." The hoarse voice sounded, filled with a shocking hostility. "Bastard!" Yan Nanshan was furious. With a wave of his hand, battle chi emerged and turned into a huge wave, crossing the sky and colliding with the opponent's battle chi. Boom! Accompanied by a loud noise, Yan Nanshan's body shook, and a trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. So strong. Yan Nanshan's pupils contracted. Yan Nanshan, if you want to save Lin Yi and Luo Qianxue, this old man will kill everyone in Yan City. You have already experienced this old man's strength. You can't stop this old man. If you don't want the people of Yan City to die, immediately withdraw your pressure and let those two people go. The hoarse voice said. Yan Nanshan looked at the mountain peak outside the city, but the mountain peak was lush with vegetation and no one could be seen at all. He lowered his head and glanced at Yan City again. The previous movement had alarmed everyone. At this moment they were all gathered on the street, their eyes full of horror. The hoarse voice said again, "Hurry up and decide." Yan Nanshan struggled for a moment and finally withdrew his pressure. Without the restraint of the pressure, the two burly men immediately rushed towards Luo Qianxue and Lin Yi. The two did not escape, because in the face of a battle emperor, they could not escape at all. After catching the two burly men immediately opened a portal and quickly left. Yan Nanshan's eyes darkened. He looked up at the mountain peak and said in a deep voice, "Who are you?" However, after waiting for a while, the hoarse voice did not sound. It seems that he has left. Yan Nanshan muttered and opened a portal. Jishui hurriedly said, "Palace Master, wait, what is going on?" Yan Nanshan turned his head and smiled. "Don't call me Palace Master anymore, because you are now the Palace Master of the Martial Imperial Hall. As for this matter, it's a little complicated. I will tell you when I have time." After saying that, Yan Nanshan stepped into the portal and descended on the square in front of the prison. Wei Zhongyang stood in front of the gate and noticed Yan Nanshan immediately. The moment the two's eyes met, invisible sparks collided. Swish! Yan Nanshan took a step forward and landed in front of Wei Zhongyang, saying, "I want to see Qin Feiyang." Wei Zhongyang said, "It's rare for an old friend to meet. Shouldn't we chat for a while?" Yan Nanshan said, "We have different paths and cannot work together. It seems that you have a big prejudice against me." Wei Zhongyang smiled faintly and said, "Why are you looking for Qin Feiyang?" Yan Nanshan frowned and said, "Is there a need for me to report to you?" Wei Zhongyang laughed. "Of course not, after all, you are now the law-enforcing elder of the temple, and also a one-star war sect. Compared to you, the difference between us is like heaven and earth." Yan Nanshan said, "Since you know, then open the door." "All right." Wei Zhongyang nodded and turned to open the door. A cold light flashed in the depths of his eyes as he said without turning his head, "Follow me." After a few breaths of time, the two of them stopped in front of cell number 5. The stone door had already been repaired. Wei Zhongyang opened the stone door, but there was no one inside. Wei Zhongyang was not surprised at all and said, "Qin Feiyang, Yan Nanshan has come to find you." Swish! Before he could finish, Qin Feiyang appeared out of thin air. Upon seeing Yan Nanshan, he anxiously asked, "Uncle Yan, how is it?" Yan Nanshan was about to speak, but then turned to look at Wei Zhongyang. Wei Zhongyang crossed his arms over his chest and laughed. "I have the authority to monitor you." Yan Nanshan raised his eyebrows. "Uncle Yan, don't talk nonsense with him." Qin Feiyang glanced at Wei Zhongyang in disgust, then took Yan Nanshan and went straight into the castle. The smile on Wei Zhongyang's face suddenly froze and was replaced by a haze. Inside the castle. "Did you bring them here?" Qin Feiyang looked at Yan Nanshan anxiously. Fatso smiled and said, "Boss, what are you nervous about? Uncle Yan is so strong, how can he fail?" But before Fatso finished speaking, Yan Nanshan sighed, "Sorry." Fatso was taken aback and asked, "What happened?" Wolf King, Lu Hong, and the pangolin also opened their eyes one after another, showing surprise in their eyes. "Indeed, as you said, someone wants to harm Luo Qianxue and Lin Yi. I also rushed there in time, but there is a mysterious powerhouse who interfered." Yan Nanshan explained the situation at the time clearly. After listening, Qin Feiyang and others were all shocked. "Boss, what the hell is going on?" Fatso's head was in a mess. Why did a War Master powerhouse suddenly pop out, and even Yan Nanshan was not his opponent? Could it be that we guessed wrong? Lu Hong frowned. "No, we didn't guess wrong. Because the only people who know our details in the entire spiritual state are the Mansion Master, Wang Hong, Ren Wushuang, and Wei Zhongyang." The mansion master and Wang Hong can't leak the secret. Ren Wushuang is even more impossible. Then only Wei Zhongyang is left. But I can't figure it out. Where did that war master come from? Qin Feiyang's face was as calm as water. He didn't expect the situation to develop to this point. Suddenly, he seemed to think of something and asked, Uncle Yan, are the two people who captured Yi and Aunt Shui from the Dong family? Yan Nanshan shook his head and said, no, they are all unfamiliar faces. Unfamiliar faces? Qin Feiyang frowned. How about this? I will capture Wei Zhongyang and interrogate him. Yan Nanshan said. There is no need for that. They captured Aunt Shui and Yi just to deal with me. We don't need to look for them. They will take the initiative to look for me. Uncle Yan, you go back first. I will take care of the rest. Qin Feiyang smiled. Is it okay? Yan Nanshan was a little worried. Don't worry, I will save Aunt Shui and Yi. And I will find this war master. I want to let him know the consequences of going against me, Qin Feiyang. Chapter 453. Yan Nanshan patted Qin Feiyang's shoulder and comforted him. Heaven helps the good. They will be fine. If you need my help, just let me know. He also blamed himself in his heart. Lin Yi and Luo Qianxue were taken away right under his nose. Qin Feiyang nodded. He waved his hand and left the castle with Yan Nanshan. Wei Zhongyang, who was standing at the door, saw the two of them, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Yan Nan glanced at Wei Zhongyang before turning to look at Qin Feiyang. Take care of yourself. I'll be leaving first. Okay. Qin Feiyang responded. Yan Nanshan walked out of the cell. Wei Zhongyang closed the stone door and walked to the door with Yan Nanshan. After taking 2 steps, Wei Zhongyang asked calmly, Brother Yan, what were you talking about? You talked for so long. Yan Nanshan said, just some small things. Why are you being so mysterious about small things? Wei Zhongyang sneered secretly. But on the surface there was nothing unusual. Brother Yan, you have a bright future now. One day in the future, you can even become the martial arts hall master of the sacred hall. Don't forget your old friend. Wei Zhongyang smiled with a flattering tone. Yan Nanshan smiled faintly. You have a bright future too. Brother Yan is funny. I'm just a prison guard now. What future can I have? Wei Zhongyang shook his head and smiled self-deprecatingly. Who said that prison guards have no future? I heard that among the 10 commanders under the Manor Lord, quite a few of them started out as jailers. Work hard. After all, you used to be Prince Yan. Don't embarrass the county of Yan. Yan Nanshan chuckled, turned into a stream of light, and flew away quickly. Wei Zhongyang froze in place. There was a sharp cold light in his eyes. Once, as the county prince of Yan, he had a noble status and great power. How impressive was that? But now he was reduced to an insignificant prison guard. Although he had already escaped from prison, his heart was still suffering and torment every day. Especially back then, when he heard that Yan Nanshan had already broken through to the War Master and was even appointed as the law-enforcing elder of the temple, his heart became more and more unbalanced. On what basis? How was Yan Nanshan better than him? Just because he had a good relationship with Qin Feiyang, he could receive such treatment? He refused to accept this. Therefore he wanted revenge. No matter if it was Qin Feiyang or Yan Nanshan, they were all targets that he wanted to eliminate. Wait. Soon you will lose everything you have. Murderous intent flashed in his eyes as he strode out of the prison and shouted at Fan Jian and the others, keep an eye on them. If anything happens again, I'll hold you responsible. Yes. The 9 people bowed and replied. Wei Zhongyang gloomily glanced at the 9 people, then soared into the air and flew into the distance. A dozen breaths later he landed in a deserted corner, took out the image crystal, and quickly activated it. A short while later, 3 phantoms appeared one after another. They were the Grand Elder of the Dong family, Eccentric Dong, and the Patriarch of the Dong family. Wei Zhongyang asked, how is it? Is it done? Old Monster Dong nodded and smiled. We have caught Lin Yi and Luo Qianxue. Great. This time we must let Qin Feiyang die without a burial place. Wei Zhongyang was overjoyed and asked, where are the 2 of them now? Family head Dong said, a very hidden place, But there is one thing that I think you may have to investigate. What is it? Wei Zhongyang frowned. Family head Dong said, when we went to catch Lin Yi and Luo Qianxue, Yan Nanshan happened to rush to Yan City. I guess someone tipped them off. Yan Nanshan went to Yan City? Wei Zhongyang was taken aback for a moment and suddenly said, no wonder he came to the prison to find Qin Feiyang. Family head Dong said, so, Qin Feiyang already knows? So what if he knows? They are in our hands. Can he still turn the tables? You just have to keep an eye on them. I will deal with Qin Feiyang. I promise to make him obediently hand over everything we want. Wei Zhongyang sneered. Family head Dong and the other two looked at each other. It was difficult to hide the excitement on their faces. Something is not right. Wei Zhongyang suddenly raised his eyebrows and looked at the three. Yan Nanshan went to Yan City in person. You can still snatch Lin Yi and Luo Qianxue. It seems that your Dong family has an unknown background. Of course. My Dong family has been in the state capital for so many years. We are not in vain. Just a mere Yan Nanshan, I don't care. Old monster Dong sneered. Haha, alright. Wait for my good news. Wei Zhongyang laughed and turned off the image crystal. The smile on his face disappeared and was replaced by a haze. I didn't expect the Dong family to have such confidence. I can make good use of this, he muttered to himself. A glimmer of light flashed in his eyes. He then turned and flew toward the prison. Inside the castle, Fatso frowned and said, Boss, will Wei Zhongyang really come to you? Qin Feiyang said, if he doesn't come, there is no value in kidnapping Lin Yi and Luo Qianxue. Fatso said, then have you thought about how to deal with it? No. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Now he had no clue at all. He could only deal with it as it came. Wolf King suddenly said, do you think this mysterious battle master is the martial arts hall master? Qin Feiyang and Fatso both looked at it in confusion. Wolf King said, this old thing has been targeting us from the beginning. There must be a reason. Qin Feiyang thought for a moment and said, this person really needs to be investigated, but we can't conclude too early whether he is the mysterious battle master or not. In fact, it's easy to investigate. There are very few battle master powerhouses in the spiritual state. Yan Nanshan is a 1-star battle master. Those who can hurt him must be a 2-star battle master or above. Those who are 2-star battle masters and above will undoubtedly be even fewer. Boss Fat Lord has a suggestion. Let's use the elimination method to find the most suspicious person, and then do a detailed investigation. Fatso said. Lu Hong shook her head and said, I don't think so. What do you mean? Fatso was puzzled. Although there are very few battle masters, every one of them is an extremely cunning old fox. It's not that easy to investigate them. If you ask me, we should use the most violent method to take down Wei Zhongyang and force him to say it, Lu Hong said. Qin Feiyang and the others were stunned. When did this little girl become so hot-tempered? I agree with Xiao Hong's suggestion. Who cares about the guard captain? Who cares about the consequences? Who cares if there is evidence now? Let's take him down first. Wolf King said fiercely. Qin Feiyang, come out quickly. I have something to tell you. At this moment, Wei Zhongyang's voice came in. He's here. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. He looked at Fatso and said, you have to record my conversation with him later? Fatso nodded. Wolf King said, do you want me to accompany you out? No need. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and in a flash he appeared in the secret room. Wei Zhongyang stood outside the door with a faint smile on his face. His eyes were playful and carried a trace of pride. Qin Feiyang sized Wei Zhongyang up from head to toe, and laughed faintly. Did something good happen to you? Some self-righteous people are about to fall into my hands. Do you think this is a good thing? Wei Zhongyang asked. Qin Feiyang laughed. For you it's definitely a good thing. Wei Zhongyang said. But for you it might be a bad thing. Me? Qin Feiyang was slightly startled and asked doubtfully, does it have anything to do with me? Still playing dumb? Wei Zhongyang shook his head and laughed. Call out Fatso, Lu Hong, Ruffian Wolf and Pangolin. Qin Feiyang was puzzled. Why? Wei Zhongyang said. If you still want them to live, then from now on, you have to listen to everything I say unconditionally. Qin Feiyang's heart trembled. This way Zhongyang had finally learned to be smart. If you don't cooperate, I can only accompany you slowly. But I don't know if they can accompany us in this? Wei Zhongyang mocked. Qin Feiyong waved his hand. Fatso, Lu Hong, Wolf King and Pangolin all appeared in the prison in an instant. Wolf King said in a low voice, "Old man, if you dare to hurt them, I guarantee that you will regret being born into this world. They are the best bargaining chips, how can I bear to hurt them? Now take out all of your image crystals and crush them in front of me." Wei Zhongyang crossed his arms in front of his chest. The corner of his mouth curled into a playful smile, as if he was certain that he could defeat them. "You are courting death." Wolf King's eyes flashed with a murderous light. Wei Zhongyang mocked. "Do you think that you still have the ability to threaten me? I will kill you now." Wolf King was enraged. He instantly turned into a muscular wolf, and a terrifying aura spread in all directions. He had always been the one to threaten others. When had he ever been threatened like this? Wei Zhongyang's body trembled and he shouted, "Qin Feiyong, if you don't want them to die, make him behave." Wolf King's ferocious name, who in Continent City didn't know? In the Holy Palace, he forcefully crippled the Dong family's patriarch. Then, he went to the Lu family and forcefully crippled the Lu family's first elder and second elder. One should know that all three of them were 9-star combat emperors. Wei Zhongyang was only an 8-star combat emperor. How could he be a match for Wolf King? The most important thing was that Qin Feiyong would be restrained by Lin Yi and Luo Qianxue. But the ferocious Wolf King would definitely not care about their lives. And here, only Qin Feiyong could make Wolf King listen to him. Therefore, Wei Zhongyang directly threatened Qin Feiyong, which was more effective. However, at this moment Qin Feiyong was indifferent. He stared at Wei Zhongyang, his eyes flickering. "What's going on?" Wei Zhongyang was shocked and furious. He shouted, "Are you deaf? Make him stop or I will kill them." But Qin Feiyong still didn't say a word. "Damn it." Wei Zhongyang's face darkened and he laughed eerily. "You forced me to do this, you will regret it." After that, Wei Zhongyang turned around and ran towards the door without looking back. That's right. He was running away. Once Wolf King made a move, no one here could save him. Qin Feiyong looked at Wei Zhongyang's sorry figure and his eyes shone with a bright light. The next moment, Chapter 454. That's what I'm waiting for. Wolf King smirked and used the void escape step. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of the prison gate. "Qin Feiyong, do you really not want to take their lives?" Wei Zhongyang panicked. He wanted to take the opportunity to humiliate Qin Feiyong. But he never expected that Qin Feiyong would not be threatened. "They are not in your hands at all. What do you have to threaten me?" Qin Feiyong sneered and stood behind Wei Zhongyang. Wei Zhongyang stopped and glanced at Wolf King gloomily. He then turned to look at Qin Feiyong and said gloomily, "They are indeed not in my hands, but as long as I say the word, they will die." "Of course I know. But as long as you don't have a chance to send a message, they will not be in danger." Qin Feiyong smiled confidently. Previously, he had been considering whether to listen to Lu Hong's suggestion and take down Wei Zhongyang directly. But he was worried that Wei Zhongyang would really harm Lin Yi and Luo Qianxue. So first of all he had to figure out whether Lin Yi and Luo Qianxue were in Wei Zhongyang's hands. After previous observations and Wei Zhongyang's various reactions, he could basically conclude that the two were not in Wei Zhongyang's hands. As long as they were not in Wei Zhongyang's hands, everything would be much easier. Fatso, Lu Hong, and the pangolin retreated behind Qin Feiyong, crossed their arms and looked at Wei Zhongyang mockingly. Damn it, damn it. Wei Zhongyang was furious. Wolf King blocked the way in front, and Qin Feiyong intercepted from behind. There was no way to escape. What should I do? All of a sudden, he turned around and rushed toward Qin Feiyong. In his eyes, Qin Feiyong's strength was slightly inferior to Wolf King. Of course, he didn't really want to fight with Qin Feiyong. He wanted to blast Qin Feiyong away, or force Qin Feiyong to retreat, then attack Lu Hong, Fatso, and the pangolin, because they were the weakest. As long as he caught one of them, Qin Feiyong and Wolf King would not dare to do anything to him. But he had completely underestimated Qin Feiyong. The current Qin Feiyong would even dare to fight a 9-star combat emperor, let alone an 8-star combat emperor. If I were you, I would immediately kneel and beg for mercy. Qin Feiyang gave a disdainful smile as he stepped forward and sent a palm strike towards Wei Zhongyang. I don't believe that an 8-star combat emperor like me can't defeat a 4-star combat emperor like you. Wei Zhongyang was enraged. Battle chi gushed out of his body as he punched out. Boom! The moment the fist and palm collided, a golden light burst out from Qin Feiyang's palm. Immediately, Wei Zhongyang screamed as he was sent flying. His arm was lacerated. Qin Feiyang's arm was also trembling as a tearing pain came from it, but it was still within the acceptable range. Why is this happening? The power actually bounced back. What kind of battle art is this? Wei Zhongyang was extremely shocked and furious. He didn't realize that a fatal crisis was approaching, because at the same time that Wei Zhongyang was sent flying, Wolf King, who was blocking the door, also moved. It took a step forward and grabbed a rib with its claws. Before Wei Zhongyang could react, it smashed the back of his head. Bang! Wei Zhongyang was sent sprawling on the ground. He hugged his head and howled in pain. Blood flowed all over the ground. Have you ever heard of the saying, the higher you jump, the more painful it is to fall? How do you feel now? Qin Feiyang walked up and crossed his arms in front of his chest. He looked down at Wei Zhongyang from above. That gaze was as if he was looking at a clown. Don't you feel very funny now? You thought that everything was foolproof and that everything was under your control. But in the end, everything that happened was completely different from what you imagined. Fatso also walked up and mocked. Do as much as you have the ability. You dare to scheme against us? Aren't you courting death? Lu Hong and the pangolin also walked to Qin Feiyang's side and looked at Wei Zhongyang with contempt. Wei Zhongyang glanced at the 3 people and 2 beasts and said gloomily, "You will regret it, let me tell you." Is that so? To be honest, I have never put you in the Dong family in my eyes. If you can be honest and don't provoke me, it doesn't matter if I kill you or not. But unfortunately, you are too insensible. Qin Feiyang shook his head, and murderous intent flickered in his eyes. Wolf King understood and knocked Wei Zhongyang's lower abdomen with a bone. With a crack, the sea of qi shattered. Little bastard, I will not let you go even if I become a ghost. Wei Zhongyang roared again and again. The pain was heart-wrenching. What are you shouting for? Tell me, where are Lin Yi and the others now? If you tell me, I may give you a chance to become a ghost. Wolf King shouted. You want to know their whereabouts? Dream on. Just wait to collect their corpses. Wei Zhongyang grinned again and again. If he said it, he would die. If he didn't say it, he would also die. It was better to drag 2 people to die with him. Still stubborn? But I have ways to deal with you. The Wolf King chuckled. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed and said, don't waste time. Kill him directly. Wolf King was taken aback. Fatty and the others also looked at him in shock and bewilderment. Qin Feiyang said, now I have a clue. It's not difficult to find them. Hearing this, Fatso and others also breathed a sigh of relief. Who knew Qin Feiyang better than them? He never did things that he wasn't sure of. Since he dared to say so, he must have a way. Old man, go to hell and repent slowly. Wolf King's eyes were fierce, and he knocked Wei Zhongyang with his bone. Wait. Fatso suddenly stretched out his hand, grabbed the ribs and shook his head. You can't kill him yet. Why? Wolf King was puzzled. Because once he dies, the image crystal will be scrapped. Those who establish the contract bridge with him may be aware. Fatso explained. At the same time, he took away Wei Zhongyang's Cosmos bag. That makes sense. Then you guys keep an eye on him first. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and sent Fatso, Lu Hong, the pangolin and Wei Zhongyang into the castle. Wolf King put away the ribs and asked, Little Qinzi, what do we do next? Qin Feiyang said, of course we're going to the Dong family. But before that, we have to find an 8-star combat emperor to replace Wei Zhongyang. Wolf King said, replace him for what? You'll know later. Qin Feiyang lowered his head and pondered for a moment. Suddenly, his eyes lit up and he also entered the castle. Ah! Cries of agony could be heard all around. He saw that Wei Zhongyang was being tortured to the brink of death by the fatty. Qin Feiyang glanced at Wei Zhongyang without any sympathy and asked, did you see the key on him? We just found it. Lu Hong handed Qin Feiyang a black token and a 5-pointed star badge. I only want this. Qin Feiyang grabbed the black token and appeared in the prison. Then he called Wolf King and entered the cell. What are you doing? Wolf King looked at him in confusion. Qin Feiyang smiled mysteriously. Standing at the door of the cell, he poured his battle chi into the black token. A beam of light shot out and merged with the gate. Boom! The gate slowly opened. Qin Feiyang put away the token and cleared his throat. He pretended to be Wei Zhongyang and said, Fanjian, come in and close the gate. Yes. Fanjian, who was standing outside the gate, responded respectfully. He turned around and entered the cell with a trace of suspicion. Boom! When the gate was closed, Qin Feiyang walked out of the cell and said with a smile, Brother Fan, we meet again. Why are you here? Fanjian was stunned and asked suspiciously, Where's the guard captain? Qin Feiyang said, He's been crippled by me. I was imitating his voice just now. What? Fanjian's expression changed. He turned around and looked at the gate. Then he moved closer to Qin Feiyang and said in a low voice, Are you crazy? He's the guard captain now. If you do this, Commander Wang Hong won't let you off. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, Now I want to make a deal with Brother Fan. A deal? Fanjian frowned. Yes. I want you to disguise yourself as Wei Zhongyang and go to the Dong family with me to investigate something. Qin Feiyang said. Investigate what? Fanjian was puzzled. Qin Feiyang said, To be honest, Wei Zhongyang and the others kidnapped 2 of my family members. I have to find them as soon as possible. What? Wei Zhongyang is so despicable. Fanjian was shocked. Wolf King sneered and said, You haven't seen how despicable he is. Fanjian glanced at Wolf King and looked at Qin Feiyang. We're old friends. I can help you. But Wei Zhongyang is an 8-star combat emperor, and I'm only a 5-star combat emperor. I'm afraid I'll be seen through. That's the point of the deal. I can help you break through to the 9-star combat emperor. Qin Feiyang said. Is this true? Fanjian's body trembled. He suddenly became excited and looked at Qin Feiyang nervously. Qin Feiyang nodded. Fanjian was wild with joy and said, Okay, I'll do whatever you say. Qin Feiyang took out a 9-melody yellow dragon pill and handed it to Fanjian. This is 5 pill veins. Fanjian was dumbfounded. He had seen 1 pill vein before. He had seen 2 pill veins before. After all, the treasure pavilion had auctioned so many of them. But this was the first time in his life that he had seen a pill vein with 5 pill veins. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, Take it and you'll soar to the sky immediately. Fanjian reached out his trembling hand and grabbed the 9-melody yellow dragon pill. What if this pill is auctioned? What price can it fetch? Qin Feiyang thought for a moment and said, It's enough for a person to cultivate for a lifetime. A lifetime. Fanjian's body and mind trembled. He was reluctant to take it. Wolf King rolled his eyes and said disdainfully, Look at you. It's just a pill vein. Is there a need to be like this? Hurry up, don't waste time. How can you understand the pain of a small person like me? I feel like I'm dreaming now. Fanjian murmured. Pa! Wolf King soared into the air and slapped Fanjian's shoulder with his claw, asking, Are you dreaming? Fanjian grimaced in pain, but his face was full of smiles. Without hesitation, he threw the 9-melody yellow dragon pill into his mouth. Boom! In less than 5 breaths, Fanjian's cultivation soared to the 9-star combat emperor. Another super expert has been created. First it was Yan Nanshan, then Yin Yuanming, then Lu Yun, and now Fanjian. The 9-melody yellow dragon pill is really heaven-defying. At the same time, it also proves a principle. Wolf King mumbled. What principle? Qin Feiyang was puzzled. Only by becoming our friend will your future be bright. Wolf King chuckled. Chapter 455. At the same time, on a mountain outside the city, 2 men and a woman stood side by side. They were Lu Tingting, Lu Feng, and the masked man. The masked man asked, Where is Lu Xingqian's body? Lu Tingting said, We don't know. After Lu Xingqian and the ancestor died, the inner palace didn't send their bodies out. The masked man said, It seems that they are buried somewhere in the inner palace. If they are really buried in the inner palace, there is nothing we can do. Because the inner palace is in the Extermination Mountain range. Also, there are 2 palace lords there. Lu Feng said. It doesn't matter. With the help of the Sand Whale Emperor and the Demonic Snake Emperor, even if the 2 palace lords find us, they can't do anything to us. The most important thing now is to find the coordinates of the inner palace. After all, the Extermination Mountain range is too far and too dangerous. We can't force our way in. The masked man said. Lu Tingting asked, do you have a plan? No plan. We just need to keep an eye on the Dong family. Once the Dong family leaves the city, we will catch them off guard. The masked man sneered. Lu Feng said, what about the coordinates? You are so stupid. I don't even know why the master spared your life. Think about it. There are so many old monsters in the Dong family. How can they not know the coordinates? Even if those old monsters don't know, there is still Dong Qing. Don't forget, she is a real inner palace disciple. The masked man sneered. Lu Feng clenched his fists and glanced at the masked man. There was a trace of viciousness in his eyes. Lu Tingting looked at Lu Feng and sighed deeply. She said, Lu Feng, you stay here and wait for us. The masked man raised his eyebrows. Lu Tingting looked at the masked man and said with a smile, the 2 of us are enough to get information. We don't need a burden. Burden? The masked man was stunned. He nodded and said with a smile, that's true. Bastard. Lu Feng cursed and shouted, Lu Tingting, what do you mean? He looks down on me? Even you look down on me? You have to know your own place. The Lu family is gone, and you are no longer the young master of the Lu family. If you continue like this, you will die. Stay here and reflect on your actions. Lu Tingting said indifferently, then sped down the mountain. Did you hear that? Reflect on yourself. Don't lose your life if you're not careful. The masked man sneered and chased after Lu Tingting without looking back. Lu Feng looked at the backs of the 2, his hands tightly clenched together. His gaze was as gloomy as water. He had been pampered since he was young, so he was proud and arrogant. He had long since become used to looking down on everyone. Even if the Lu family was destroyed, he would still think that he was superior to others. It was only at this moment that he realized it. He was no longer the old Lu Feng. Right now he was just a pitiful worm who was desperately struggling to survive. He no longer had the right to look down on others. He felt helpless, desolate, pained, angry, and lost. He didn't know how long this kind of life would last. Who knew what would happen in the next moment? At the base of the mountain, the masked man caught up with Lu Tingting and said, you will break his heart if you do this. That's all I can do. Because he's too naive, too stupid. I have to let him see clearly how cruel this world is and how difficult it is to survive. Lu Tingting said. The masked man was silent for a while, then said, do you think he can understand your painstaking efforts? If he wants to survive, he must understand. Lu Tingting said coldly. Who knew Lu Feng better than her? Other than his talent, there was nothing good about him. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he was a useless person. She also couldn't figure out why that mysterious master didn't kill him. However, she had no choice now. She could only do her best to protect Lu Feng. Because now, only she and Lu Feng were left in the Lu family. Prison. Fanjian's cultivation had already broken through to the 9-star War Emperor. At this moment, his entire body was immersed in an uncontrollable excitement. The 9-star War Emperor, this was simply an extravagant dream for him in the past. However, he didn't expect that with just a single pill, in just a dozen breaths of time, he would actually step into the realm that he dreamed of. Not only that, he could even feel that the bottleneck between the War Emperor and the War Master had been broken. Stepping into the War Master was just around the corner. Although this Qin Feiyong was young, he was truly an extremely terrifying figure. Because, as long as Qin Feiyong was willing, he could create a large number of 9-star War Emperor, or even War Master. Such a person could only be a friend and absolutely not an enemy. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Who? He let out a long breath and cupped his hands. Brother Qin, this fan will never forget your great kindness. Qin Feiyong smiled faintly. Wolf King urged. Now is not the time to be polite. Hurry up and change your appearance, don't waste time. Fanjian nodded. Yes, 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 let's go quickly. Wolf King said. We're going out just like that? I look at my memory. Fanjian suddenly slapped his forehead and laughed awkwardly. I'm sorry, I was a little too excited and lost my mind. Understandable. Qin Feiyong laughed, took out a appearance-changing pill and handed it over to Fanjian. Qin Feiyong also changed his appearance into Fanjian's, and Fanjian even gave him a set of armor to wear. As for Wolf King, he hid inside Qin Feiyong's armor. After everything was ready, the two of them walked out of the prison one after another. Greetings, guard captain. The 8 people guarding the door bowed. Fanjian nodded and said coldly, Fanjian and I are going out for a while, you guys watch carefully. Yes. The 8 of them respectfully replied. Whiz. Fanjian waved his hand and brought Qin Feiyong with him as he soared into the sky. Qin Feiyong frowned and asked, You're going to fly over just like that? You know, the teleportation gate is very expensive. With my economic foundation, I can't afford it. Fanjian scratched his head in embarrassment. Qin Feiyong shook his head and laughed and said, Stop, I have a teleportation gate. Fanjian slammed on the brakes and stopped in midair. Qin Feiyong waved his hand and was about to open the teleportation gate. Wait. Fanjian stopped him and said, Brother Qin, you're a 4-star combat emperor. Isn't it inappropriate for you to pretend to be me? Qin Feiyong asked. Is the Dong family familiar with you? Fanjian said, I don't have much interaction with the Dong family. Qin Feiyong laughed. Then it doesn't matter. But when you talk to the Dong family later, you have to be careful. Don't let the cat out of the bag. Fanjian hesitated for a while and said, I think it's better for you to tell me in advance. After all, I'm not as smart as you. Qin Feiyong thought for a while and nodded. All right, then we'll fly over. I'll tell you on the way. Whoosh! Fanjian once again swept up Qin Feiyong and quickly disappeared without a trace. Half an hour later, the two of them landed in front of the Dong family's gate. Greetings, guard captain. The 4 servants who were guarding outside the door bowed and said. Fanjian nodded expressionlessly and said, Do I need to report? No need, no need. Master has already ordered that as long as it's the guard captain, there's no need to report. Please come in. The 4 servants smiled flatteringly. Let's go. Fanjian called out to Qin Feiyong and walked toward the gate. Qin Feiyong was about to step forward. How is this possible? But at this moment, Wolf King's surprised voice sounded in his mind. Qin Feiyong was secretly shocked and asked, What's the situation? Wolf King said, There are 2 familiar smells here. Whose? Qin Feiyong was surprised. Wolf King said, The masked man and Lu Tingting. What? Qin Feiyong's body trembled. He turned his head abruptly and looked at the street behind him. On the street, pedestrians were coming and going, but they were all unfamiliar faces. Qin Feiyong said to himself, Are you sure? Impossible. I may be mistaken about the masked man, but Lu Tingting has been chasing me for so long. I will never forget her natural fragrance. Wolf King said decisively. That's strange. Why are there smells in the Dong clan? Did they sneak into the Dong clan? Qin Feiyong frowned. Wolf King said, No, they didn't sneak into the Dong clan. Their smells can only be found on the street. Then what do they want to do? Qin Feiyong's eyebrows were tightly knitted together, and he was extremely puzzled. Fanjian walked into the gate of the Dong clan and found that Qin Feiyong didn't follow him. He turned his head in confusion and asked, What are you doing? Guard captain, wait for me. Qin Feiyong said with a smile, then turned and ran to an empty alley, and took Fatso out of the castle. Then he pulled Wolf King out of the armor and said, Let's split up. I'll go rescue Yi and Aunt Shue. You and Fatso go and investigate them. Wait, investigate what? Fatso said hurriedly. Because Qin Feiyong and Wolf King were communicating with each other through their minds, they didn't know the situation yet. The white-eyed wolf will tell you. Remember, we must not let them slip away this time. Qin Feiyong gave a death order. Wolf King chuckled. Leave it to me. After you find out, send me a message as soon as possible. Be careful. Qin Feiyong warned again, then turned and ran towards the gate of the Dong clan. Fatso and Wolf King also immediately took action. With them taking action, Qin Feiyang could deal with the Dong clan without worry. Fan Jian was still waiting for Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang arrived in front of the gate, tidied up the armor on his body, and walked through the gate. He and Fan Jian walked down a long corridor, one in front of the other. "Brother Qin, what are you going to do?" After walking for a while, Fan Jian couldn't help but ask in a low voice. Qin Feiyang whispered. "Wolf King found the masked man who massacred the Lu clan." "What?" Fan Jian's eyes trembled. "Don't make it public. I've already asked Fatso and White-Eyed Wolf to investigate. I believe there will be a result soon," Qin Feiyang said. "With Fatso taking action, we definitely won't be able to escape." Fan Jian laughed in a low voice. He was very confident in Fatso. Qin Feiyang looked at him in surprise, then shook his head and laughed. He lowered his head and pondered while walking towards the conference hall. It was definitely not a coincidence that the masked man and Lu Tingting appeared at the same time. That was to say, after the masked man took Lu Tingting away, he didn't make things difficult for Lu Tingting. Instead, he made Lu Tingting his accomplice. But there was a problem. The masked man was the executioner who slaughtered the Lu family. How could Lu Tingting be willing to be with him because of the hatred of exterminating her family? According to Wolf King's observation, the masked man was not strong. It was the sand whales that were strong. Sand whales. Thinking of this, Qin Feiyang's eyes lit up. That was right. The masked man was not as strong as the sand whales. How could he control the sand whales? That was right. Chapter 456. If this speculation was true, then why did the mysterious expert want to destroy the Lu family? Did he have a deep grudge against the Lu family? But why didn't he kill Lu Tingting and Lu Feng? Was he interested in their talents? Impossible. Qin Feiyang didn't know about Lu Tingting's talent, but Lu Feng was a good-for-nothing with no value to cultivate. Qin Feiyang had too many doubts in his mind. After a while, Fan Jian said in a low voice, "Brother Qin, we're here." Qin Feiyang raised his head and saw a majestic hall in front of him. It was the Dong family's meeting hall. At the door, there were 2 guards and 4 maids waiting for her. Phew! Taking a deep breath, Qin Feiyang temporarily cast aside the thoughts in his heart and followed behind Fan Jian, walking towards the main hall. "Greetings, Captain." The guards and maidservants bowed in greeting. "Yes." Fan Jian nodded and asked, "Where are your patriarch and patriarch?" One of the guards said, "Please take a seat inside. We'll inform them immediately." "Okay." Fan Jian nodded and led Qin Feiyang into the hall. "Take good care of the captain." The 2 guards warned the 4 maidservants and left in a hurry. 2 of the maids went to prepare tea. Fan Jian laughed. It seems that Wei Zhongyang is respected in the Dong family. Snakes and rats alike. Qin Feiyang sneered. "Ugh." Fan Jian was stunned. Then he shook his head and laughed. He sat on a chair and pointed to another chair. "Sit." "I'm your confidant now, I can't sit." Qin Feiyang shook his head. He walked behind Fan Jian and stood there with his back straight. Fan Jian felt awkward. Although he was a 9-star combat emperor, he was afraid of Qin Feiyang from the bottom of his heart. Qin Feiyang said in a low voice, "Don't be nervous, be careful." Fan Jian took a few deep breaths and asked in a low voice, "Can you guarantee that the Dong family and Wei Zhongyang will be defeated?" Qin Feiyang nodded. Fan Jian breathed a sigh of relief. He was afraid that Qin Feiyang was not confident, because now, he was basically Qin Feiyang's accomplice. Once he failed, Wang Hong would look into it. Even if he was a 9-star combat emperor, he wouldn't be able to survive. After waiting for about 100 breaths, Old Monster Dong and Patriarch Dong finally arrived at the main hall. The Dong family's patriarch cupped his fists and smiled. "Brother Wei, we are honored by your presence. Why didn't you inform us in advance? We would have gone to welcome you." "Brother Dong, you're too polite." Fan Jian stood up and greeted him with a smile. Patriarch Dong hurriedly said, "Don't get up, just sit down." After Fan Jian returned to his seat, Patriarch Dong looked at Qin Feiyang and asked suspiciously, "Brother Wei, who is this?" Fan Jian smiled and said, "He is my confidant. His name is Fan Jian, and he is completely trustworthy. You don't have to worry about him." Despicable. Patriarch Dong and Old Monster Dong looked at each other with strange looks in their eyes. How could there be such a strange name? Patriarch Dong smiled and said, Brother Fanjian, since we are all on the same side, then don't be polite. Sit down and talk. Qin Feiyong said, It's okay, I can stand. Patriarch Dong didn't say much and sat on the main seat with Old Monster Dong. Old Monster Dong said, Brother Wei, you suddenly came to us. Is there something wrong with Qin Feiyong? Something wrong? Fanjian was taken aback and said disdainfully, Lin Yi and Luo Qianxue are in our hands. Can he still make waves? Hearing this, Old Monster Dong and Fanjian suddenly laughed. Patriarch Dong said, Then have you talked to him? Fanjian said, I just finished talking to him. What's the result? The two looked at him nervously. Although Wei Zhongyang repeatedly assured that Lin Yi and Luo Qianxue were Qin Feiyong's Achilles' heel, judging from Qin Feiyong's actions in Zhou City, he was completely a ruthless person. They really had no confidence in their hearts. Don't worry, he has compromised. Fanjian smiled faintly, reached out, took out a jade box from his arms, and put it on the coffee table. Old Monster Dong was surprised. What is it? Fanjian said, Potential pill. The two's eyes lit up. Patriarch Dong immediately got up, walked to Fanjian's side, grabbed the jade box, opened it, and was immediately stunned. Seeing this, Old Monster Dong stepped forward suspiciously and was also stunned. How is this possible? There are actually 3 elixir patterns. And there are a total of 10. Fanjian said, Qin Feiyong has long been able to refine elixir with 3 elixir patterns, but he has been hiding it. Not many people know. The two took a deep breath. How could this little beast's alchemy talent be so amazing? In fact, these elixirs were refined on the way here. After all, Qin Feiyong carried the elixir fire and the elixir furnace with him. It was only a matter of minutes to refine 10 elixirs. And these 10 potential pills were bait. How is it? Very tempting, right? I heard that the last potential pill with 2 elixir patterns auctioned by Precious Treasure Pavilion was sold for around 20 billion. And I heard that Precious Treasure Pavilion is going to start auctioning again in a few days with a starting price of 30 billion. And the potential of 3 elixir patterns will definitely double again. If you sell these 10 potential pills, even if you are banned by Precious Treasure Pavilion, it will be enough for your Dong family to survive for decades. Fanjian said with a smile. Survive for decades? The two of them trembled both physically and mentally as their eyes shone brightly. Old Monster Dong gulped and asked, Old Brother Wei, are these 10 potential pills for our Dong family? Fanjian put away the jade box and said indifferently, What are you guys in a hurry for? As long as we have the elixir recipe for the potential pill, why worry about not having enough? Yes. Brother Wei is right. Then, is he prepared to give us the elixir recipe? The two of them asked excitedly. Sigh. Fanjian sighed deeply and said helplessly, You guys also know that Qin Feiyong has a treasure to hide in. Although he can't escape from prison, I can't do anything to him. Old Monster Dong nodded. Fanjian said, He told me that he must see Lin Yi and Luo Qianxue with his own eyes before he is willing to give us the elixir recipe. Family head Dong shook his head and said, This won't do. This little beast is full of tricks. If something happens, won't we fail at the last step? Old Monster Dong said, Yeah, we can't take this risk. Qin Feiyong, who was standing aside, frowned imperceptibly. Fanjian lowered his head, frowned and said nothing. In fact, he didn't know what to do next. Qin Feiyong glanced at him, looked up at Old Monster Dong and Luo Qianxue, and said with a smile, You two don't have to worry. Although Qin Feiyong is treacherous, as long as you don't let him get close to Lin Yi and Luo Qianxue, he can't do anything. Yes. With me here, what are you afraid of? Let me tell you, I want to kill him more than you because he caused me to lose everything. My son died because of him. This time, I not only want to get all the treasures on him, but I also want to end his life. As for Lin Yi and Luo Qianxue, they will also die afterward. Strong murderous intent and resentment emerged in Fanjian's eyes. Heard about it. Old Monster Dong and Luo Qianxue also fell silent. Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed. He looked down at Fanjian and said respectfully, Guard Captain, it seems that the Dong family still doesn't trust you. We have to consider this matter at length so as not to be used as a tool. Family head Dong hurriedly raised his head and looked at Qin Feiyong. Brother Fanjian, you can't simply say this. It's not that we don't trust Brother Wei, but because Qin Feiyang is too difficult to deal with. We must eliminate all possibilities in advance. Yes. This is a misunderstanding. Brother Wei, don't take it seriously. Old Monster Dong also looked at Fanjian with a flattering face. Now Wei Zhongyang was the key to keeping Qin Feiyang in check. The relationship couldn't be strained. Otherwise, it was very likely that the Dong family would end up in a situation where they went for wool and came home shorn. Is it really a misunderstanding? To be frank, the current Dong family is no longer what it used to be. At most, it is only a first-class family in the state capital. The guard captain can come to you in person, which is giving you enough face, but you repeatedly refuse. Is this the sincerity of your Dong family? I also want to ask, if the plan succeeds, will the pill formula of the potential pill belong to our guard captain? Or to your Dong family? Qin Feiyang said. Fanjian nodded and said, yes, in order to avoid unnecessary trouble, we need to discuss this issue in advance. This. Old Monster Dong and Fanjian looked at each other, feeling a little anxious. It seems that you have never seriously thought about this issue. In that case, wait until you think about it before coming to the guard captain. Guard captain, let's go, Qin Feiyang said. Fanjian nodded, got up, and took out a portal. This portal was also given to him by Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang did this to force the Dong family to hand over Linyi and Luo Qianxue. He also believed that the Dong family would definitely compromise. Because in the current situation of the Dong family, they did not dare to fall out with Wei Zhongyang. Sure enough, seeing that the two were about to leave, family head Dong and Old Monster Dong began to get anxious. They quickly got up and stopped the two. Old Monster Dong smiled and said, Brother Wei, don't be angry, let's have a good talk. Fanjian said blankly, with all due respect, with your current attitude, I can't sit down and have a good talk. Yes, this is indeed our fault. Well, for the sake of safety, let's have someone pretend to be Linyi and Luo Qianxue to meet Qin Feiyang. Old Monster Dong smiled apologetically. Pretend? Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. Still not giving up? You're courting death. The corner of his mouth lifted, and he sneered. Do you think Qin Feiyang is a fool? If he is so easy to fool, how can he bring down your Dong family and the Lu family? Letting someone pretend to be them will only backfire. Family head Dong and Old Monster Dong looked at each other with a trace of helplessness in their eyes. At the same time, they felt very unbalanced in their hearts. Why is this little beast so difficult to deal with? Compared with him, the children of the Dong family can't even catch up with him. Old Monster Dong let out a long sigh and said, well, let's listen to Brother Wei. I believe Brother Wei can handle it properly. Fanjian was overjoyed and smiled. Don't worry, with me here, they can't run away. Old Monster Dong nodded and smiled. Brother Wei used to be the county king of Yan. I definitely trust your ability, but you have to wait a while because Linyi and Luo Qianxue are not in the Dong family now. Not in the Dong family? Qin Feiyang's heart shuddered. If not in the Dong family, where would they be? Could it be suddenly? There was a flash of light deep in his eyes. Chapter 457. Fanjian wondered. Then where are they? Old Monster Dong whispered. They are in the mansion master's mansion. What? Fanjian's eyes widened. Qin Feiyang's pupils also shrank abruptly. It was unbelievable to the extreme. Linyi and Old Monster Dong are actually in the mansion master's mansion? Isn't this too unbelievable? Could it be that the mysterious combat master is the mansion master? Impossible. The mansion master would not do such a thing. But apart from the mansion master, who else can hide Linyi and Old Monster Dong in that mansion? Could it be? Is it one of the 10 commanders under the mansion master? Qin Feiyang looked at Fanjian and gave him a subtle wink. Fanjian understood. He looked at Old Monster Dong and said angrily, Are you crazy? If the mansion master knows about this, we will all be finished. Captain, don't be nervous. Since they dare to do this, they must be confident. It's even possible that this matter is related to the mansion master. If this is the case, it means that the mansion master also dislikes Qin Feiyang's actions. This is a good thing for us. Qin Feiyang smiled. He and Fan Jian echoed each other in order to let Old Monster Dong and Old Monster Dong reveal the identity of this mysterious combat master. Hearing Qin Feiyong's words, both Old Monster Dong and Old Monster Dong's expressions changed. Family Head Dong said, "Brother Fan Jian, don't say this again. If the mansion master hears it, we will be finished." "What do you mean? Does the mansion master not know? Then why do you still dare to imprison them in the mansion master's mansion?" Fan Jian was shocked and angry. "Brother Wei, don't worry. The mansion master doesn't know anything. And the most dangerous place is the safest place. No matter how smart Qin Feiyong is, he will never think that Lin Yi and Old Monster Dong would be in the mansion master's mansion." Old Monster Dong laughed with a hint of pride on his face. "These people are too daring," Fan Jian muttered secretly. At the same time, he sneered in his heart. They thought that their plan was flawless, but little did they know that Qin Feiyong was right in front of them. It seemed that the Dong family was no match for Qin Feiyong, no matter how smart they were. It was a wise choice to stand with Qin Feiyong. He could even foresee how miserable the Dong family would be in the future. Cough cough. Qin Feiyong glanced at Fan Jian, clenched his fist and coughed dryly. "What happened?" Fan Jian and Old Monster Dong both looked at him doubtfully. "I'm fine. It's just that my throat is a little uncomfortable." Qin Feiyong smiled and looked at Fan Jian meaningfully. Fan Jian thought for a moment and understood. He turned to look at Old Monster Dong and Old Monster Dong and said, "Who is guarding them? I want to know if this person is trustworthy." "Brother Wei, don't worry. This person is absolutely trustworthy. However, he requested that we not mention his identity to anyone. So I hope Brother Wei can forgive me." Old Monster Dong cupped his hands and said with a trace of apology on his old face. Fan Jian was hesitant. He couldn't make up his mind. Qin Feiyong said in a low voice, "My lord, since Ancestor Dong has said so, then in my opinion, you shouldn't ask any more questions. After all, we're all on the same boat right now, and we need to make money peacefully." Family Master Dong smiled and said, "Brother Fan Jian's words are right. Harmony breeds wealth." Fan Jian nodded and said, "Well, bring Lin Yi and Luo Qianxue here first. As for the distribution of benefits, we will discuss it slowly after the plan is successful." Okay. Old Monster Dong and Old Monster Dong were also overjoyed. Family Master Dong looked outside the door and shouted, "Go and tell the Grand Elder to go to the mansion of the Mansion Master immediately and bring the two women here." "Yes." One of the guards responded respectfully, then turned and left quickly. Old Monster Dong smiled and greeted, "Brother Wei, come on, let's have some tea." Fan Jian nodded. Old Monster Dong returned to his seat, picked up the teacup and took a few sips. He was about to say something, but suddenly, he looked at Fan Jian in surprise. Qin Feiyong noticed it at the first moment, and his heart couldn't help but shudder. Old Monster Dong said, "Brother Wei, your aura seems to be a little stronger than last time?" Although his cultivation was now crippled, he was once a one-star battle grandmaster after all. His eyesight was still there. However, due to the awkward atmosphere before, he didn't notice it until now. But when he heard Old Monster Dong's question, Qin Feiyong secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Because he had guessed early on that it might be seen through, so he had already told Fan Jian what to say. Fan Jian smiled and said, "Not long ago, I broke through to the 9-star combat emperor." "Really?" The two were surprised. Fan Jian nodded. "It's really worth celebrating. In this way, our strength is undoubtedly stronger. But Brother Wei, you can't be careless. Qin Feiyong and Ruffian Wolf are not easy to deal with. I am the best example," Family Master Dong warned, his face full of resentment. If it wasn't for Wolf King and Yan Nanshan who crippled him, an old ancestor, the Dong family wouldn't have fallen to such a state today. This hatred was absolutely irreconcilable. "I will be careful." Fan Jian nodded solemnly. Old Ancestor Dong put down his teacup and said, "Brother Wei, this old man has a presumptuous request." Fan Jian smiled and said, "There's no harm in saying it." Old Ancestor Dong said, "Can you give us a few potential pills first?" Fan Jian immediately frowned. "Brother Wei, to tell you the truth, my Dong family has a genius disciple who is very talented. He is now a 9-star combat emperor. I want the potential pills to fulfill his wish." Old Ancestor Dong said, The Dong family's current situation could be said to be very bad. They must cultivate a battle grandmaster as soon as possible, because a family must have a battle grandmaster to be able to establish a foothold in the capital. And the potential pills were undoubtedly the fastest way at present. Fan Jian thought for a moment and asked, "Are you talking about your eldest grandson Dong Zhongyang?" "Yes, it's him." Old ancestor Dong nodded. As long as the door of potential was opened, with Dong Zhongyang's talent, it wouldn't be long before he could step into the battle grandmaster. Dong Zhongyang, Qin Feiyang muttered. It seemed that when he returned to the inner hall, he would have to properly inquire about this person's situation. His eyes flashed slightly as he looked at Fan Jian and smiled. "Sir, allow this subordinate to say something. Since you and the Dong family are cooperating, then you definitely can't take all the benefits for yourself." "That's true. The benefits should be divided equally." Fan Jian took out a jade box, took out 5 potential pills, and threw them to the two of them. His eyes were filled with reluctance. One had to know that this was an astonishing amount of wealth. If these were his pills, he wouldn't give them to the Dong family even if he was beaten to death. Ancestor Lu and Patriarch Lu were ecstatic as they hurriedly grabbed them. Shua! At this moment, a powerful pressure descended out of thin air. Following closely, 3 figures appeared. One of them was the great clan elder, and beside him were 2 women. One was a beautiful woman, but time didn't leave too many traces on her face, and her charm was still there. The woman next to her was no more than 20 years old. Her skin was whiter than snow, and her hair was draped over her shoulders. Her facial features were like a masterpiece of heaven, exquisite and peerless. At this moment, they were all imprisoned by the great clan elder's pressure. Looking at Qin Feiyang and the others in the main hall, their gazes were as cold as ice. When Qin Feiyang saw them, killing intent surged from the depths of his eyes, but he instantly concealed it. Because these 2 people were Luo Qianxue and Lin Yi. Moreover, both of them were in a very sorry state. Not only were their eyes unfocused, their faces were haggard, and there was even a trace of blood at the corner of their mouths. Old Monster Dong glanced at the 2 of them, then looked at Fan Jian and smiled. "Brother Wei, I've brought them to you. You must take good care of them." Fan Jian said, "Just put your heart at ease." Patriarch Dong asked Brother Wei when Qin Feiyang sees them, "What do you plan to do with them?" Fan Jian smiled and said, "Let's look at the situation. If Qin Feiyang wants to play any tricks, I will send them to you. After all, there is no place safer than the mansion master." "Yes." Old Monster Dong and the other 2 laughed. "Brother Feiyang." When Lin Yi heard the conversation, her eyes trembled slightly, and she asked, "Where is Brother Feiyang?" "Brother." Old Monster Dong was stunned and joked, "It seems that your relationship with Qin Feiyang is really deep. Don't worry because you will see him soon." Luo Qianxue said, "I know Feiyang's temper very well. You will definitely regret it." She looked at Fan Jian again and said, "Especially you, Wei Zhongyang. What a joke, he can't even protect himself now. What can he do to us?" Old Monster Dong and the other 2 sneered suddenly. In order to act, Fan Jian also showed a disdainful look at Lin Yi and Old Monster Dong. He got up and said, "Okay, let's not talk nonsense. It's time to find Qin Feiyang for the final negotiation. Be sure to tell us the result as soon as possible." Old Monster Dong also got up hurriedly. Fan Jian nodded and said, "No problem, but I am very puzzled. Why is the person in the mansion master helping us?" Old Monster Dong smiled and said, "He has a good relationship with me." Oh, Fan Jian suddenly realized. He was afraid of exposing himself, so he didn't ask anymore. He opened a portal and said to Qin Feiyang without looking back, "Take them. Let's go." "Yes," Qin Feiyang responded respectfully. He walked to Lin Yi and Old Monster Dong, grabbed each of their arms with one hand, and said coldly, "You better cooperate with me. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless." After speaking, he dragged the 2 of them and walked toward the portal. After Qin Feiyang and others left, Old Monster Dong's old eyes suddenly flashed with a cold light. Family Head Dong said gloomily, "Old ancestor, this person is too arrogant. We have to teach him a lesson." "Don't worry. As long as we get the potential pills pill formula, not only Qin Feiyang and Ruffian Wolf will die, but Wei Zhongyang will also die. Because that person will not allow anyone to snatch the pill formula from him. Old Monster Dong sneered. Family head Dong and Grand Elder also showed a murderous intent. Outside the city, above a certain dense forest, four figures appeared out of thin air. It was Qin Feiyong and others. Go down. Qin Feiyong glanced below, waved his hand, and took Luo Qianxue and Old Monster Dong into the dense forest below, landing on a black rock. Then, Qin Feiyong let go of Lin Yi and Old Monster Dong. He stood opposite the two, looked at them and frowned slightly. Fan Jian stood behind Qin Feiyong, watching silently. What? Luo Qianxue frowned and said coldly, bringing us to the wilderness, do you want to kill us? Chapter 458. Luo Qianxue and Lin Yi looked at each other, their eyes full of suspicion. Fan Jian was also very puzzled. Didn't he spend so much effort to save these two women? Now that they were rescued, why didn't Qin Feiyong speak? Suddenly, Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed. He looked at Luo Qianxue and said, how do you and Qin Feiyong know each other? Luo Qianxue said, why should I tell you? Qin Feiyong's eyes burst with murderous intent, and he said coldly, if you don't answer, I will kill Lin Yi. I understand. Fan Jian suddenly realized. It turned out that Qin Feiyong was afraid that the two people in front of him were impersonators, so he didn't reveal his identity immediately. This guy is really cautious. No matter what, he does it flawlessly. However, Luo Qianxue was silent. Lin Yi also looked at Qin Feiyong fearlessly. You don't want to say it? Qin Feiyong smiled coldly, pointed to Lin Yi and said, kill her. Fan Jian nodded and rushed towards Lin Yi. Luo Qianxue's face changed drastically, and she hurriedly said, don't kill her, I will tell you. Say it. Qin Feiyong shouted, his face filled with impatience. Luo Qianxue sighed deeply and said, in Iron Ox Town, we were bewitched by a villain to besiege Qin Feiyong, but in the end, he not only broke out of the siege, but also kidnapped my daughter. Who is the villain? Qin Feiyong asked. Luo Qianxue said, Lin Bailey. Should be fine. Qin Feiyong murmured, but for the sake of safety, he asked again, what happened later? Later he let my daughter go. When I learned the truth, I felt guilty and wanted to make it up to him. So, I asked my daughter to send him some compensation, but he didn't accept it. Luo Qianxue said. It can't be wrong. Qin Feiyong murmured. Because only he, Luo Qianxue, and Luo Qingzhu knew about the compensation. He looked at Lin Yi again and said indifferently, how did you become friends with Qin Feiyong? Lin Yi said, I was born in the same year, same month, and same day as brother Feiyong. This reason is enough. Enough. Qin Feiyong nodded. But suddenly he noticed a bracelet on Lin Yi's wrist. However, this bracelet was very ordinary in both design and quality. It was obvious that it was a cheap item. Qin Feiyong found him somewhat familiar. After thinking about it carefully, he figured it out. It turned out that this was a cheap gift he gave to Lin Yi on her birthday. He didn't expect this girl to wear it all the time. Silly girl. Qin Feiyong mumbled to himself and smiled. Show me your fire phoenix. Lin Yi was surprised and asked, how do you know? Qin Feiyong said, don't worry about how I know. Lin Yi's eyes were full of doubts. She took out a jade pendant from the clothes under her neck. The jade pendant was fiery red with a lifelike fire phoenix carved on it. That's right. Qin Feiyong whispered with a smile on his face. Aunt Shui, I'm sorry to trouble you. The two were taken aback and looked at Qin Feiyong vigilantly. Luo Qianxue said solemnly, if you want to kill or torture, do as you please. Don't play tricks. Qin Feiyong took out a facial restoration pill, threw it into his mouth, and quickly restored his true appearance. Feiyong. Brother Feiyong. Lin Yi and Luo Qianxue glared at him in disbelief. After you were kidnapped by the Dong family, Uncle Yan came to inform me immediately. It's all my fault. If I had killed Wei Zhongyang earlier, none of this would have happened at all. I'm really sorry. Fortunately, you are all safe. Qin Feiyong blamed himself. Brother Feiyong, it's really you. Lin Yi came back to her senses and burst into tears of joy. She threw herself into Qin Feiyong's arms. Tears moistened his chest in an instant. Don't cry. I'm here. Everything will pass. Qin Feiyong patted her on the shoulder and comforted her in a low voice, but his heart was even more uncomfortable. In the past few years of separation, Lin Yi's feelings for him not only did not decrease, but also became deeper and deeper. But he really only had a sibling relationship with Lin Yi. Child, you don't have to blame yourself. Yi and I are too incompetent to drag you down, Luo Qianxue said with a smile. His dim and lifeless eyes became extremely spirited at this moment. Aunt Xue, if you say so, I feel even more sorry in my heart. Before Uncle Jiang Jingyi died, he repeatedly asked me to take good care of you and your mother, but Qingzhu, when Qin Feiyong said this, the self-blame in his eyes became stronger. Luo Qianxue's eyes dimmed again, and there was sadness between her eyebrows. She forced a smile and said, "Don't mention the past, as long as everyone is fine now." Qin Feiyong nodded. And Luo Qianxue suddenly looked at Fan Jian, with a trace of doubt on her face and said, "Feiyong, he shouldn't be Wei Zhongyang, right?" "Yes. He is a friend of mine named Fan Jian. This time it's all thanks to him that I was able to successfully rescue you. And when I saved Uncle Yan, he also helped a lot. It can be said that he is my great benefactor," Qin Feiyong said with a smile. "Brother Qin, aren't you treating me like an outsider? If it weren't for you, would I be able to step into the 9-star combat emperor? To be honest, you are my great benefactor," Fan Jian said. While speaking, he also took a facial restoration pill to restore his true appearance. Luo Qianxue cupped her hands and said, "Thank you, Senior Fan Jian." Fan Jian hurriedly said, "Don't call me that. I can't afford it. If you don't mind, you can call me by my name." Luo Qianxue smiled, but her heart was filled with emotions. Thinking back to when she was in Iron Ox Town, Qin Feiyong was just a young child. How many years has it been? She didn't expect that he would have today's achievements. Even the 9-star combat emperor was polite to him. She turned to look at Lin Yi and said with a smile, "Girl, your brother Feiyong must have a lot of things to do. Don't stay in his arms." Heard it. Lin Yi's cheeks suddenly turned red. She broke free from Qin Feiyong's arms and stood beside Luo Qianxue. She lowered her head and grabbed her belt with both hands. She was very embarrassed. Qin Feiyong shook his head and laughed in spite of himself. He said, "Aunt Xue, go to the ancient castle first. Lu Hong will tell you everything. Wei Zhongyang is also imprisoned in the ancient castle." Luo Qianxue nodded. Qin Feiyong waved his hand and was about to send the two into the castle. But Lin Yi suddenly raised her head, ran to Qin Feiyong, and took the initiative to kiss Qin Feiyong's face. Luo Qianxue and Fan Jian also looked at each other. Qin Feiyong was also a little stunned. But in the next moment, there was a sharp pain in his heart as if it was about to be torn apart. His face also turned pale instantly. At the same time, the concentric knot on his chest also emitted a ray of bloody brilliance, but it was covered by his clothes, so no one noticed it. Oh no! Qin Feiyong felt bad. This concentric knot would really prevent him from being intimate with other women. However, this kind of pain quickly disappeared. "Brother Feiyong, what's wrong with you?" Seeing Qin Feiyong's face instantly turned as pale as paper, Lin Yi was frightened on the spot and panicked. Luo Qianxue and Fan Jian also looked at him with concern. "I'm fine." Qin Feiyong waved his hand, then waved his hand and sent Luo Qianxue and Lin Yi into the castle. Fan Jian frowned and said, "Brother Qin, what's the matter with you?" "Maybe it's because I fought with the Lu family in the past. The internal injuries left behind haven't healed yet." "It's fine." Qin Feiyong smiled, and his face was quickly recovering. "Turned out to be like this. You scared me." Fan Jian patted his chest and asked, "What's the next step?" Qin Feiyong pondered for a while and said, "You don't have to worry about the next thing. Continue to pretend to be Wei Zhongyang. Go back and cultivate in seclusion. Break through your cultivation and step into 1-star battle master." Fan Jian's body shook, and his eyes became fiery. Battle master. If it was in the past, he didn't even dare to think about it. Fan Jian asked, "What about you?" Qin Feiyong's eyes flickered, and he said coldly, "I want to find out the masked man." Fan Jian frowned and said, "Then I'll stay and help you." Qin Feiyong shook his head. "There's no need now, because only when you step into the battle master will you be able to truly help me." "Alright then, be careful." Fan Jian nodded, took out the jade box and handed it over to Qin Feiyang, and said speechlessly, "You're really generous, giving the Dong family 5 potential pills at once." "It doesn't matter. In any case, the potential pill is already useless to me. You can keep these 5 potential pills. It just so happens that you can also open the first 3 stages of the Gate of Potential." Qin Feiyang faintly smiled. "For me?" Fan Jian was startled. "However, to open the Gate of Potential you need the assistance of pressure. And with your current cultivation, you still need the pressure of the Battle Master." Qin Feiyang thought for a moment and said, "Go to the temple to find Yan Nanshan first. Tell him that I told you to go. He will help you." "All right. Brother Qin, thank you. Thank you so much. If there's anything you need help with in the future, just let me know. Even if I have to climb a mountain of blades, I, Fan Jian, will not frown." Fan Jian's voice was sonorous and forceful. His eyes filled with gratitude. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "Let's build a contract bridge. It'll be convenient for us to contact each other in the future." Fan Jian nodded. The two of them took out the image crystal, and after building the contract bridge, Qin Feiyang gave Fan Jian a few more teleportation gates. Then, Fan Jian opened the teleportation gate and went to the temple to find Yan Nanshan. Qin Feiyang looked at the teleportation gate that disappeared with a smile on his face. Once the Gate of Potential was opened, it was equivalent to being reborn, and Fan Jian's future achievements would definitely be limitless. As for Fan Jian, although he was not very talented after a few interactions, he was indeed worth nurturing. That was because Fan Jian was an honest and loyal person. Most importantly, Fan Jian really wanted to be friends with him, and he would definitely need help to enter the imperial capital. Although there was Fatso, Lu Hong the Pangolin and Wolf King, it was far from enough. Therefore, it was better to take advantage of the resources in his hands to cultivate a force that belonged to him. For example, Lu Yun, Yan Nanshan, Ren Wushuang, including Luo Qianxue and Lin Yi. These were all potential stocks that could help him greatly in the future. Chapter 459. After collecting his thoughts, Qin Feiyang took out the image crystal stone and sent a message to Fatso. But after waiting for a long time, there was no response. "What's going on?" Qin Feiyang frowned. The white-eyed wolf was a tracking master, and Fatso was also meticulous. It stood to reason that he should have tracked them down long ago. Did something happen? It shouldn't be. The white-eyed wolf's combat power was unparalleled, and he carried 2 ribs with him. Even if he was chased by War Master, he could probably escape, let alone the masked man and Lu Tingting. Phew! Qin Feiyang exhaled a long breath. His figure flashed and entered the castle. Wei Zhongyang was lying on the ground with his last breath. His body was bloody. He didn't look like a human or a ghost. As soon as he saw Qin Feiyang coming in, he struggled to get up, knelt at Qin Feiyang's feet and begged, "I was wrong. Please give me a way out. I will be your slave for the rest of my life." Qin Feiyang said faintly, "Your cultivation is now crippled. What qualifications do you have to be my slave?" Wei Zhongyang said, "Although I am a cripple now, I can help you plan. Aren't you an alchemist? I can help you sort out the herbs or something." Qin Feiyang said faintly, "No need. You don't need to do these. Do you really want to kill me?" Wei Zhongyang roared hysterically. His blood-stained face was full of hatred and despair. "Can you be quiet?" Qin Feiyang kicked Wei Zhongyang and knocked him out on the spot. Lin Yi looked at Wei Zhongyang in disgust and said, "Brother Feiyang, why don't you kill him directly?" "I can't kill him yet." Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "Aunt Shui said that you are now a 9-star martial master." Lin Yi nodded. Qin Feiyang said, "Then I will help you open the door of potential now, but the process is very painful. You have to be mentally prepared." Door of potential. Lin Yi's tender body trembled. She nodded firmly and said, "Brother Feiyang, just do it. No matter how painful it is, I can bear it." Beside him, Luo Qianxue took out a jade box. Inside the jade box was the potential pill that Qin Feiyang had given her. The potential pill was the 9 Tunes Yellow Dragon pill. Luo Qianxue took out a potential pill, walked to Lin Yi, and said seriously, "Once you take the potential pill, there is no turning back. You have to think about it." Lin Yi glanced at Qin Feiyang. Without any hesitation, She grabbed the potential pill from Luo Qianshua's hand and put it into her mouth. Alas! Luo Qianxue sighed and retreated to Qin Feiyang's side. In less than 3 breaths, the effects of the potential pill began to take effect. Linny screamed in pain immediately. However, she only let out a scream before she sat down cross-legged on the ground. Although her facial features were twisted in pain and her body was twitching, she did not let out another scream. She gritted her teeth and endured. Boom! Meanwhile, Qin Feiyang's coercion pounced and shrouded Linny. Luo Qianxue whispered, Feiyang, do you know why she is so strong? She just wants to catch up with your footsteps and stay by your side. Qin Feiyang was silent. Luo Qianxue sighed, in fact, Yi is a good girl. You can consider her. Qin Feiyang whispered, Auntie Shui, you should know that I have always regarded her as a sister. Alas! Luo Qianxue sighed deeply and said nothing more. Lu Hong next to her also opened her eyes and looked at Lin Yi with a complicated expression. Although they were both women, and they both liked the same man, she really sympathized with Lin Yi. She was originally a lively girl, but she became depressed because of a greedy father. It could be said that the current Lin Yi was harmed by her father. A moment passed. Boom! Lin Yi's delicate body shook, and a deafening muffled sound exploded in her body. On her chest, a potential imprint quickly emerged, exuding thousands of rays of light. Qin Feiyang hurriedly restrained his coercion, took out a heal pill, and gave it to Lin Yi. After Lin Yi took the heal pill, she said, Brother Feiyang, I can still continue. No. Qin Feiyang refused as expected. What a joke, even he may not be able to open the gate of potential continuously. This girl was simply crazy. Lu Hong smiled and said, Opening the gate of potential has to be done step by step. When the injury is healed, open the second level. Don't force yourself too much and don't make us worry. Lin Yi nodded. Buzz. At this moment, the image crystal in Qin Feiyang's arms finally made a sound. He hurriedly took it out, but the phantoms that emerged were not Fatso and Wolf King, but Yan Nanshan. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, Uncle Yan, what's the matter? Yan Nanshan nodded, but he didn't say anything directly. He looked at Luo Qianxue next to Qin Feiyang and smiled. Long time no see. Long time no see. Luo Qianxue also smiled. Seeing you and Feiyang together, I am relieved. Yan Nanshan said with a smile, then looked at Qin Feiyang and frowned. You asked me to help Fan Jian open the gate of potential. Are you going to train him? Qin Feiyang nodded. Yan Nanshan said, if you really want to train him, then you should give him the potential pill. Qin Feiyang frowned. Seeing this, Yan Nanshan said suspiciously, you still don't trust him? Qin Feiyang shook his head and said, not really, but you can't judge a book by its cover. I have to be on guard, right? Yan Nanshan said, then I can only tell you, don't doubt the person you use. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and nodded, I understand. Ask him to come to me, and I will give him the potential pill. Okay. Yan Nanshan answered and turned off the image crystal. Luo Qianxue said suspiciously, Feiyang, has Yan Nanshan also opened all the gates of potential? No, he hasn't even opened the first level. Qin Feiyang shook his head and sighed. When I gave him the Juki yellow dragon pill, I didn't think of this. Now I feel quite guilty. Luo Qianxue nodded in realization. Qin Feiyang asked, Aunt Shui, what is your cultivation now? I am ashamed to say that after a few years, I only broke through to 5-star martial grandmaster. Luo Qianxue smiled bitterly. That's fast. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. After thinking for a moment, he said, then, have you ever taken a scarlet-colored glass pill? No. Luo Qianxue shook her head. That's good. Qin Feiyang breathed a sigh of relief and immediately opened the furnace to refine the pill. After a while, a red fireglass pill with 3 veins came out. Aunt Shui, this red fireglass pill is enough for you to break through 4 small realms in a row, and you will be a 9-star martial grandmaster. Then, I will help you open the gate of potential. Qin Feiyang handed over the red fireglass pill. Luo Qianxue's eyes lit up and she took it without hesitation, because there was no need to be polite. Qin Feiyang looked at Yi again. Seeing Yi's eager face, he couldn't help but smile and say, don't worry, I will refine it for you after I raise the Netherworld Devil Flame to the 5th grade. He was actually a little annoyed. When he was in the Pill Pagoda in the Forgotten Land, he only refined the Juku Yellow Dragon Pill, the Potential Pill, and the Potential Pill, but he didn't refine the Red Fire Glass Pill. If he had refined it at that time, it would have 5 veins and could increase by 6 small realms. But it was useless to regret now. Boom! Luo Qianxua's cultivation kept breaking through, and in less than 15 breaths, she stepped into the 9-star Martial Grandmaster. Then, Qin Feiyang helped her open the first level of the Gate of Potential. Luo Qianxua's willpower was also very strong. Maybe it was because of the death of Luo Qingzhu and Jiang Zhangyi. Swish! Next, Qin Feiyang left the castle again. Soon Fan Jian appeared again and Qin Feiyang took out 2 potential pills and gave them to him. Fan Jian could be said to be deeply grateful and almost knelt on the ground. After sending Fan Jian away, Qin Feiyang returned to the castle and helped Lin Yi open the 2nd level intermittently, and helped Luo Qianxua open the 3rd level. Time flew by and a day passed just like that. Everyone was cultivating, and Qin Feiyang was also copying the battle character secret art, while waiting for Fatso and Wolf King's messages. Another 2 days passed. Fan Jian had already stepped into the 1-star Martial Grandmaster, and he told Qin Feiyang at the first moment. Buzz! It was also on this day that the image crystal made a sound. Qin Feiyang hurriedly took it out, but found that it was not his image crystal. It's Wei Zhongyang's. Lu Hong took out an image crystal from her arms and threw it to Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang caught it in his hand and frowned. Lu Hong said, "It should be the Dong family's people who will send a message to Wei Zhongyang at this time." Qin Feiyang sneered. "It seems that the Dong family can't sit still." Lu Hong said, "Do you want to respond to them?" "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded. The identity of the mysterious Martial Grandmaster had not been found out yet, so he had to temporarily drag out the Dong family's people. His eyes flickered slightly, and he picked up the unconscious Wei Zhongyang and appeared in the dense forest. In the past 3 days, Wei Zhongyang woke up several times, but every time he woke up, he was knocked out by the pangolin again. Swish! Qin Feiyang galloped in the dense forest for a while, found a river, and then threw Wei Zhongyang directly into it. "There are aquatic beasts in there, help!" Wei Zhongyang immediately quivered and woke up. Soon after, he let out a terrified scream and swam towards the shore while calling for help from Qin Feiyang. Roar! As expected, an aquatic beast rushed out of the water, opened its bloody mouth and revealed its sharp fangs, and pounced toward Wei Zhongyang. "Qin Feiyang, save me, I'll do anything you ask of me." Wei Zhongyang was so scared that he wet his pants on the spot. "You said it yourself," Qin Feiyang said indifferently, and the pressure of a 4-star combat emperor roared out. The aquatic beast was only a combat king, so it immediately stopped and fled back to the bottom of the water in fear. Wei Zhongyang swam to the shore with great effort, and collapsed on the grass, gasping for air. His face was full of fear. Qin Feiyang said, "Let me ask you, other than the Dong family, who else have you told about me?" "No." Wei Zhongyang hurriedly got up and shook his head. Qin Feiyang said, "Then my relationship with Ren Wushuang, did you tell the Dong family?" "No. Because if I did, they would be even more afraid of you, and definitely won't cooperate with me," Wei Zhongyang said. "You're quite smart." Qin Feiyang sneered. Wei Zhongyang shrunk his neck, and his eyes were full of fear. Qin Feiyang said, "Don't worry, I won't kill you for now." Buzz! At this moment, Wei Zhongyang's image crystal rang again. So urgent. Chapter 460. Wei Zhongyang was nervous and uneasy, afraid that Qin Feiyang would do something to him. After a few breaths of time, Wei Zhongyang's image crystal stopped ringing. Bang! It was also at this moment. Qin Feiyang's arm shot out explosively. His palm was like a blade, knocking Wei Zhongyang unconscious and sending him into the castle. Originally, he wanted Wei Zhongyang to appear and stall the Dong family. But then he suddenly remembered that Wei Zhongyang's cultivation was crippled and he had no battle qi, so it was impossible for him to revive the image crystal. In other words, Wei Zhongyang's image crystal could only receive the other party's message, and could not activate the conversation mode. The most important thing was that Wei Zhongyang was unreliable and could not take this risk. Following that, Qin Feiyang lowered his head. his thoughts running at high speed. He couldn't be so passive anymore. He had to take the initiative to counterattack. However, he had to think of a foolproof plan. Got it. Soon. His eyes lit up as he took out his image crystal and quickly activated it. Not long later, a shadow appeared. It was Yin Nanshan. Qin Feiyong did not exchange pleasantries and said, "Uncle Yin, there's something I need your help with." "What is it?" Yin Nanshan was puzzled. Qin Feiyong said, "Go to the prison right now." Yin Nanshan was startled and frowned. "Why are you going to the prison?" "I want to set up a trap and lure that mysterious war sect out." "When you go to the prison, you don't need to do anything. You just need to hide nearby and monitor the prison. If I'm not wrong, someone will definitely go to the prison to investigate the situation. And this person, even if he isn't that mysterious war sect, is related to him. But if someone really goes, you don't have to take any action." Qin Feiyong's eyes flickered. "All right." Yin Nanshan nodded. Although he did not know Qin Feiyong's detailed plan, he trusted Qin Feiyong unconditionally. After ending the conversation, Qin Feiyong contacted Fan Jian again. After communicating with Fan Jian, he kept the image crystal. "Mysterious war sect. Let's see how long you can hide." Qin Feiyong sneered. He swallowed an illusory form pill and changed into Fan Jian's appearance. Then, he opened a teleportation door and walked in. The Dong family. Inside the great meeting hall. Like ants on a hot pan, Patriarch Dong and the Grand Elder paced back and forth in the hall. Old Monster Dong sat on the chair above. He looked at the two of them and said angrily, "Can you two not appear in front of me? My head is about to get dizzy because of all of you." Patriarch Dong said, "Old Ancestor, it's already been 3 days, and there's still no news from Wei Zhongyang. How can I not be anxious?" "That's right. He didn't even respond to my messages. What is he doing?" The Grand Elder was furious. Suddenly, his gaze trembled as he looked at eccentric Dong and asked in surprise, "Patriarch, do you think he wants to take it all for himself?" As soon as he said this, the hall fell into deathly silence. Whoosh! At this moment, a man in black armor appeared out of thin air. It was Qin Feiyong. Seeing this, eccentric Dong and the other two were startled, and immediately went up to greet him. Patriarch Dong said anxiously, "Brother Fan Jian, why didn't Brother Wei answer our message? Is he in some kind of trouble?" Qin Feiyong looked at the three of them, his eyes flashing slightly, and nodded. "I have indeed encountered some small trouble." "What kind of trouble?" The three of their faces changed. Qin Feiyong said, "Yin Nanshan has always been hiding near the prison, monitoring Lord Guard Captain." "Yin Nanshan? Why would he monitor Brother Wei?" Eccentric Dong and the other two were bewildered. Qin Feiyong said, "According to Lord Guard Captain's guess, he most likely received some kind of news?" Patriarch Dong said, "If that's the case, won't it ruin our good deed? This is also what Guard Captain is worried about. He told me to tell you that you must think of a way to send Yin Nanshan away." Qin Feiyong said in a deep voice. Patriarch Dong frowned. Yin Nanshan is the law-enforcing elder of the temple, and is also a one-star war sect. How can we send him away? This. Qin Feiyong hesitated for a moment and shook his head. "Then there is no way, we can only waste time." The three of them fell silent. Qin Feiyong glanced at them and said, "I have to go back and report. Goodbye." Patriarch Dong hurriedly said, "Brother Fan Jian, wait. Is there anything else?" Qin Feiyong was puzzled. Patriarch Dong said, "Where are Lin Yi and Luo Qianshu in prison now?" Qin Feiyong said, "The second floor of the prison." Patriarch Dong asked, "Where is Qin Feiyong?" Qin Feiyong said, "The first floor." "That's good." Patriarch Dong breathed a sigh of relief. Qin Feiyong had too many means. If they were locked in the same floor as him, they might be rescued by him. Qin Feiyong said, "If there is nothing else, I will leave first. Take care, I won't send you off. Go back and tell Brother Wei that we will try our best to send Yin Nanshan away." Eccentric Dong said. Qin Feiyong nodded, opened a portal and quickly left. "Old Ancestor, what can you do?" Patriarch Dong and the Grand Elder looked at eccentric Dong suspiciously. "Now that my cultivation is crippled, what can I do?" "But we can find him." "Grand Elder, Go to the mansion master's mansion immediately and tell him about this situation. He must have a way. Eccentric Dong ordered. Okay. The Grand Elder nodded and opened a teleportation gate. Without even turning his head, he rushed in. Outside the city, Qin Feiyong landed in the sky above the dense forest. Without any delay, he immediately sent a message to Yan Nanshan. Yan Nanshan had already squatted near the prison and gave the coordinates to Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong immediately rushed to meet Yan Nanshan. Within a few miles around the prison, there were no buildings, but there were many big trees with luxuriant branches and leaves. At this moment, Yan Nanshan was standing on the branch of one of the big trees. Swish! Qin Feiyong appeared out of thin air. You're here. Yan Nanshan smiled. Qin Feiyong nodded, jumped up and landed beside Yan Nanshan, looking at the prison. Standing here, he could clearly see the situation at the prison gate. Fan Jian disguised himself as Wei Zhongyang. Standing straight in front of the gate, his eyes sharp. The other 8 guards also looked straight ahead. Yan Nanshan was puzzled. Kid, what kind of trick are you playing? Qin Feiyong smiled. You'll find out later. Oh right, Uncle Yan, do you know who the new East City governor is? Yan Nanshan said, I've heard of him, but I've never seen him. Why? Qin Feiyong frowned. Wang Hong told me that this person is helping me investigate the extermination of the Liu family. I don't know if he has found any clues. Yan Nanshan sighed. It's difficult to investigate this matter. Qin Feiyong smiled faintly. It's not that difficult. I've already found traces of the masked man, but where did you find him? Yan Nanshan was surprised. Qin Feiyong said, near the Dong family. Wolf King and Fatso have already gone to track him. But it's been 3 days and there's still no news. I'm a little worried. Yan Nanshan smiled. With the 2 of them, what are you worried about? Just wait. He won't be able to escape. Qin Feiyong nodded. Time passed by slowly. Almost an hour had passed, but there was still no one coming to the prison. Yan Nanshan frowned. Feiyong, why hasn't anyone come yet? Qin Feiyong was also puzzled. Logically speaking, someone should have come long ago. Could it be that the Dong family was suspicious? Buzz. Suddenly, there was a buzzing sound. Qin Feiyong looked at Yan Nanshan suspiciously. Yan Nanshan took out the image crystal from his pocket, but the image crystal shone brightly. Yan Nanshan frowned and said in a low voice, hide for a while. Qin Feiyong nodded. He took a step forward and landed on a tree opposite him, using the dense leaves to hide his figure. Yan Nanshan's battle chi surged and fused into the image crystal. An illusory figure appeared quickly. It was a burly man dressed in black. Qin Feiyong did not have any impression of him. However, he could tell from his attire that he was a deacon elder of the sacred hall. Elder Yan, where are you now? The burly man's face was filled with anxiety. What? Yan Nanshan frowned. The burly man said anxiously, the disciples of the cultivation hall are fighting. Hurry back and take a look. Yan Nanshan's expression changed as he asked, weren't they fine when I left? Why are they fighting all of a sudden? The burly man shook his head. I don't know either. You had better come back quickly. Otherwise, someone might die. All right, I'll go back right away. Yan Nanshan turned off the image crystal and looked at Qin Feiyong. You heard it too. I have to make a trip back. You stay here and guard. Yes. Qin Feiyong nodded. Yan Nanshan immediately opened a teleportation gate and disappeared quickly. Qin Feiyong turned around and continued to monitor the prison. But suddenly, his gaze trembled. That's not right. How could the disciples of the sacred hall suddenly fight? And it just so happened to be at this time. Could it be the Dong family was behind this? That's not right either. The Dong family had already declined, so they wouldn't be able to cause such a huge commotion. That's right. It must be him. That mysterious war sect. You can't even force him out like this. You're really hiding your strength. Qin Feiyong muttered, his gaze gloomy. To be able to send Yan Nanshan away so easily, it seemed that he had met a very difficult opponent this time. He raised his head and looked at the prison. He jumped down from the branch and landed on the ground. There was no need to continue monitoring. Buzz. At this moment, his image crystal made a sound. Qin Feiyong took it out and poured his battle chi into it. Two shadows quickly appeared. It was Fatso and Wolf King. Qin Feiyang said angrily, "What are you doing? Why are you only replying to me now?" Fatso sighed. "Boss, we're in big trouble this time." Wolf King was also dejected. His eyes filled with helplessness. "What do you mean?" Qin Feiyang frowned. Fatso said, "Give us your coordinates first, we'll talk about it when we get there." "I'm at the prison." Qin Feiyang looked at the man and wolf suspiciously and gave the coordinates to Fatso. In less than 3 breaths, a man and a wolf appeared in front of him. Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice, "Speak, what's going on?" Fatso said, "At first, we were following them very smoothly, but we soon discovered that their scent was covered up." "Cover up?" Qin Feiyang was startled. "That's right, it's a cover-up." After 3 days of tracking, Fat Lord felt that the masked man and Lu Tingting were purely playing with us, leading us around the city. Fatso said. Qin Feiyang said, "So, not only did they notice that you were following them, they even tricked you?" Fatso nodded, a little angry. Chapter 461. Tracking was Wolf King's forte, and it had never failed before. But this time not only did it fail, but it was also played like a monkey. This had seriously hurt its self-esteem. If it wasn't for the fact that it couldn't expose its whereabouts, it would have brazenly chased after Lu Tingting and her brother all over the city. After all, in the eyes of the world, Qin Feiyang was now locked in prison. If the whereabouts of Wolf King and Fatso were exposed, then the fact that Qin Feiyang had escaped from prison would also be exposed to the world. This was not a good thing for Qin Feiyang. After pondering for a moment, Qin Feiyang frowned. How did they cover up their scent? Pollen, and more than one kind of pollen. They obviously came prepared, and it's very likely that they are coming for us. Wolf King's eyes flashed with a fierce light. Qin Feiyang shook his head. They are not coming for us. How do you know? Wolf King was suspicious. It's very simple. The fact that we were sent to prison has long been known to everyone. They must know as well. If they are really coming for us, they won't let go of this good opportunity, and will definitely expose your and Fatso's whereabouts. In this way Wang Hong will go and capture you. But they didn't do that, which means they have other purposes. Qin Feiyang said. Makes sense. Fatso nodded and asked, "Did Yi and the others get out?" "They are now in the castle, but they also encountered a troublesome matter," Qin Feiyang said. That moment, he briefly explained the situation to Fatso and Wolf King. Damn, it's actually related to the mansion master? Fatso was dumbfounded. Wolf King sighed. This time, we really met a difficult opponent. Difficult? Qin Feiyang sneered. No matter how difficult it was, he had to find this person. Fatso said, "Boss, what should we do next?" He was at a loss for what to do. Since Lu Tingting and Li Tianlan appeared outside the Dong clan's gate, their target is most likely the Dong clan. Don't chase after them anymore. Just wait near the Dong family's residence. Be smart, don't be fooled again, Qin Feiyang said. Fatso and Wolf King nodded. What about you? Fatso asked. I'm going to the Holy Temple. Qin Feiyang's eyes lit up. Fatso understood. He opened a portal and left with Wolf King. Qin Feiyang took off his armor, took out the temple's disciple overlook, and put it on. Then, he swallowed an illusory form pill and changed his appearance into a very ordinary-looking young man. He opened the teleportation gate and walked in. The next moment, he landed in a small forest near the training hall. Glancing around, Qin Feiyang dashed out of the small forest and rushed towards the cultivation hall. On the way, Qin Feiyang met many disciples from the Holy Temple. They were all rushing towards the cultivation hall. From their discussion, he knew that they were also going to watch the show. But no one knew the reason why the disciples were fighting in the cultivation hall. Dozens of breaths later, the cultivation hall finally came into sight. At this moment there was a sea of people in the square. Most of them were disciples from the Pill Hall. There were only a few disciples from the Martial Arts Hall. There was a lot of discussion and noise. In front of the gate, there were more than a dozen deacon elders guarding. They didn't allow anyone to enter the cultivation hall. Qin Feiyang mixed into the crowd and listened carefully. He didn't get any useful information and started to ponder. How could he sneak into the cultivation hall? Suddenly, he noticed that there was a short and familiar figure in the crowd not far away. Huang San. Qin Feiyong was stunned. He walked behind Huang San and patted Huang San's shoulder. He smiled and said, "Long time no see." And Huang San turned and looked at Qin Feiyong suspiciously. He frowned and said, "Do I know you? Don't try to establish a relationship with me." Establish a relationship? Qin Feiyong was stunned. He smiled bitterly and asked, "Why are the disciples of the martial arts hall fighting? Who is the one leading them?" This guy was well informed. He should know a thing or two. Huang San frowned and said impatiently, "Who are you? Why should I tell you?" Qin Feiyong moved closer to his ear and whispered, "What?" Huang San was startled at once. He seriously sized up Qin Feiyong and said with a flattering smile, "Qin, sure." Qin Feiyong hurriedly gestured for him to keep quiet. Huang San understood. He looked around sneakily. Seeing that no one was paying attention, he whispered, "Senior brother Qin, weren't you in the prison? How did you get out?" Qin Feiyong said, "Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Answer my question." Okay. Huang San nodded and whispered, "As far as I know, the people leading the trouble are He Xiaolong and Xiao Jian." "Who is He Xiaolong?" Qin Feiyong was puzzled. He Xiaolong is an old disciple of the martial arts hall. "You fought with him before," Huang San said. "Fought with him?" Qin Feiyong was stunned. Huang San said, "On the day you killed Dong Chong and Lu Ziyuan, you challenged all the geniuses. He was also there, but he was suppressed by you." Qin Feiyong suddenly understood. But he had no impression of this person and had never heard of him. Then why did he fight with Xiao Jian? Qin Feiyong said, "This young Xiaolong has always been secretly in love with Dong Fangyu. But Xiao Jian beat him to it. As for Xiang Xiaolong himself, he has no background and no backing, so he doesn't dare to fight with Xiao Jian. But he has always been very unconvinced. Just yesterday, he broke through to the 9-star battle monarch first. So he went to Xiao Jian and said that Xiao Jian is not worthy of Dong Fangyu, and asked Xiao Jian to leave Dong Fangyu. Xiao Jian definitely won't agree. They fought without a word. Xiao Jian is an 8-star battle monarch. He can't beat him alone, but his status is there, and he has a good relationship with all the geniuses. So they formed a group and fought with He Xiaolong. If Elder Yan didn't come back in time to stop them, I'm afraid someone would have died," Huang San said. Qin Feiyong suddenly understood. Turned out that they were jealous. He asked, "Is the news true?" "Absolutely true. I'm very familiar with a disciple of the martial arts hall. When I learned of this, I immediately sent him a message. He told me personally." Huang San whispered. He Xiaolong. Qin Feiyong's eyes flickered. He didn't expect that there was such a crazy person in the sacred hall. But was it really just because of jealousy? This was too much of a coincidence. Huang San whispered, "Senior brother Qin, were you the one who exterminated the Lu family?" "No." Qin Feiyong shook his head. Huang San asked suspiciously, "Then what about the rumors outside?" Qin Feiyong said lightly, "Someone is deliberately framing me." "Preposterous. How dare they frame senior brother Qin? When I find out who this person is, I will not let him go," Huang San said with righteous indignation. Qin Feiyong was stunned. He looked at Huang San strangely, then couldn't help but shake his head and laugh. Buzz! Suddenly, the image crystal in Qin Feiyong's arms rang again. "There's news about Fatso and White-Eyed Wolf?" Qin Feiyong was suspicious and smiled at Huang San. "I still have something to do, I'll leave first." "So fast?" Huang San was stunned. "Now you're the only one who knows that I'm not in prison. Don't talk nonsense, otherwise you'll have to bear the consequences," Qin Feiyong whispered. "Understood." Huang San nodded. Qin Feiyong smiled and directly left the crowd, walking towards the small forest next to them. A moment later, he took out the image crystal and sent a message to Fatso. But the result was that Fatso and Wolf King didn't send him a message at all. Then who could it be? Fan Jian? Soon his image crystal rang again. When he activated the image crystal, the image that appeared turned out to be Lu Hong. Swish! Qin Feiyang flashed and entered the castle. He looked at Lu Hong and asked, "What's wrong?" Lu Hong pointed at Wei Zhongyang and said, "He has something to say to you." Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned. He turned his head and saw that Wei Zhongyang had already woken up and was sitting in a corner. "What do you want to say?" Qin Feiyang frowned. Wei Zhongyang asked, "If I tell you, will you let me live? Do you think you still have the right to negotiate? You don't have to say it, but you'll die now." Qin Feiyang sneered. Wei Zhongyang's face changed, and his eyes were filled with fear. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and shouted, "Hurry up, don't waste my time." Wei Zhongyang's body trembled as he said, "It's the Dong family." Qin Feiyang frowned. "What do you mean?" Wei Zhongyang said, "The news of you slaughtering the Lu family outside the city was deliberately released by the Dong family." "The Dong family?" Lu Hong's eyes flashed with killing intent. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but clench his fists as he said in a deep voice, "Speak clearly." When the Lu family was wiped out, the grand elder of the Dong family was hiding in the forest outside the plain. Wei Zhongyang said, "I see." Qin Feiyang muttered, "If the grand elder of the Dong family was hiding there, then he should know that ruffian Wolf and I didn't kill the Lu family members." "That's right. He knows and so do I, but no one else knows. Most importantly, you and the Lu family have a deep grudge against each other. Whether you did it or not, as long as there are rumors, they will assume that you did it." Wei Zhongyang said. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with a cold light as he said, "Why was the grand elder of the Dong family there? Is it a coincidence?" "It's not a coincidence. The Dong family guessed that you would eliminate the root of the problem. Therefore, after the Lu family members left the city, the grand elder of the Dong family followed them. The patriarch of the Dong family told me this in person. It can't be false. Can you spare my life now?" Wei Zhongyang looked at Qin Feiyang with a pleading gaze. "The Dong family. You're courting death," Qin Feiyang said in a low voice, his eyes flashing with bone-piercing killing intent. He looked at Wei Zhongyang and said, "Why didn't you tell me something so important earlier?" Wei Zhongyang said, "I didn't think of it until I overheard your conversation with the people outside." "Good. Now, tell me everything that happened in detail." Lu Hong recorded all. Qin Feiyang said. Lu Hong nodded. Whoosh! Qin Feiyang left the ancient castle and went to the square outside the cultivation hall again. He stood behind the crowd, his eyes glittering. With Wei Zhongyang's words, he could completely clear himself of suspicion. But now was not the time. He had to meet this young Xiaolong. He didn't believe that there could be such a coincidence in the world. Chapter 462. After waiting for half an hour, Yan Nanshan walked out of the cultivation hall with a gloomy expression. "Elder Yan, how's the situation?" The deacon elders surrounded him. "It's fine now. But just in case, you have to continue watching. If anyone dares to cause trouble again, they will be kicked out of the sacred palace and never be recruited again." Yan Nanshan shouted. "Yes." The deacon elders bowed and replied. Yan Nanshan looked at the crowd in the plaza and shouted, "Disperse, there's nothing to see here." The disciples dispersed in an uproar. But some people didn't leave. They gathered in twos and threes and discussed softly. Yan Nanshan didn't care about them. He turned into a stream of light and soared into the sky, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Most of the deacon elders also left. Only 2 of them were left guarding the 2 sides of the door. "Let's go in and see what's going on." Seeing this, the disciples who were pacing back and forth in the square all rushed towards the cultivation hall. "Stop right there. The martial arts hall disciples can go in, but the pill hall disciples must go back immediately." The 2 deacon elders stood in front of the door and shouted. Those who were wearing white clothes all stopped. Their eyes were filled with dissatisfaction. On what basis? No matter if it was the pill hall disciples or the martial arts hall disciples, they were all disciples of the sacred palace. Was there a need to differentiate them so clearly? But no matter how dissatisfied they were, no one dared to force their way in. Qin Feiyang originally wanted to mix in with the crowd, but now it seemed that he had to think of another way. At this moment, Huang San, who was in the crowd, suddenly noticed Qin Feiyang. He ran up to him and smiled. "Senior brother, didn't you leave?" Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "I also wanted to go in and join in the fun. Unfortunately, I didn't have the chance." "You want to go in? That's easy. Follow me." Huang San ran towards the small forest at the side. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. He quickly followed. After entering the small forest, Huang San took out 2 sets of black clothes from his Qingkuan bag. He passed one set to Qin Feiyang and laughed. "Senior brother Qin, for you." Qin Feiyang's eyes lit up and he gave Huang San a thumbs up. Then he took the clothes and quickly put them on. Huang San also changed his clothes. Next, the two of them slightly changed their appearances and walked out of the small forest, entering the cultivation hall without any obstructions. The cultivation hall was different from the Pill Fire Hall. Because there were too many disciples in the martial arts hall, the area of the cultivation hall and the number of cultivation rooms far exceeded that of the Pill Fire Hall. In a long corridor, Huang San said in a low voice, "Qin Feiyang, you didn't sneak into the cultivation hall just to join in the fun, right?" Qin Feiyang said with great interest. "Then why don't you tell me what I'm here for?" "I don't know." Huang San shook his head. If it were someone else, he would still dare to make a guess. But Qin Feiyang was too unfathomable. It was hard to guess what he was thinking. Qin Feiyang did not beat around the bush and said, "I want to see Xiang Xiaolong." "Why do you want to see him?" Huang San was bewildered. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and did not explain further. Huang San was also tactful and did not ask further. He said, "Xiang Xiaolong is in the number 1 cultivation room. I'll take you there." There was also a courtyard in the center of the cultivation hall. A moment later, the two of them came to the bottom of the courtyard. Qin Feiyang raised his head and looked over. To his surprise, he discovered that the cultivation hall actually had a total of 20 floors. Furthermore, Qin Feiyang felt like an ant standing inside an elephant when he stood at the bottom of the patio. A feeling of insignificance and inferiority arose in his heart. Huang San said in a low voice, "According to statistics, there are 100,000 cultivation rooms here." "So many?" Qin Feiyang was shocked. "In other words, there were 5,000 cultivation rooms on each floor?" "There are only 1,000 cultivation rooms on the top floor." As Huang San explained, he led Qin Feiyang along the corridor and went up. On the way they met many disciples. From their discussion they learned that it was indeed as Huang San said. Xiang Xiaolong and Xiao Jian were jealous of each other and caused this bloody fight. Qin Feiyang could not figure it out. He had seen this Dongfang Yu several times. She was indeed somewhat beautiful and talented, but she was still far from being a femme fatale. Was there a need to fight so fiercely? As if seeing Qin Feiyang's doubts, Huang San said in a low voice, "Dongfang Yu's family is very powerful." Qin Feiyang was stunned. The Dongfang family is located in the South City. In terms of overall strength and background, they are comparable to the Lu family in the East City and the Shun family in the West City. Huang San said, "So powerful?" Qin Feiyang was surprised. Huang San said, "Of course. After all, the old master of the Dongfang family is the city lord of the South City." "I see." Qin Feiyang finally understood. It turned out that Xiao Jian and Xiang Xiaolong were pursuing Dongfang Yu because of her background. Dozens of breaths later, the two came to the 20th floor and went straight to the number 1 cultivation room. 3 young men in black walked towards them. The 3 of them had different degrees of aura, and their faces were a little red and swollen. When they saw Qin Feiyang and Huang San, one of them stopped them and frowned. "Who are you? What are you doing here?" Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. Huang San said with a flattering smile, "Senior brother, we are here to look for senior brother Xiang Xiaolong. Please make an exception." Looking for Xiang Xiaolong, the 3 of them looked at each other, and their eyes suddenly became unfriendly. "Don't you know that Xiang Xiaolong has a grudge against us? How dare you come to look for him? Let me tell you, if you want to continue in the Divine Palace, don't interact with him in the future. The 20th floor is not a place for you to come. Get out." The 3 of them shouted arrogantly. This, Huang San looked at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang looked at the 3 of them, his eyes flickering. He, who was good at reading people's expressions, could tell at a glance that the 3 of them belonged to Xiao Jian's side. Moreover, Right now, Xiao Jian's side was already suppressing Xiang Xiaolong. What are you still looking at? I told you to scram, didn't you hear me? Believe it or not, I'll throw you down. Seeing that Qin Feiyong was indifferent, the three of them were furious. Seeing that the situation was not good, Huang San leaned over to Qin Feiyong's ear and whispered, Senior brother Qin, let's retreat first in case your identity is exposed. Retreat? The corner of Qin Feiyong's mouth lifted, and a sneer appeared on his face. Seeing this, the three of them were furious. You still dare to sneer? I think you don't want to live. The man standing on the left raised his arm and slapped towards Qin Feiyong. Interesting. Huang San muttered and simply retreated to the side, crossing his arms in front of his chest and watching the show. Originally, he thought that Qin Feiyong would choose to endure for the time being, but now it seemed that this was not the case. Even if he had not gotten rid of the prison, this fierce man was not a fish that could be trampled on. Sure enough, Qin Feiyong's eyes turned cold, and his big hand shot out like an eagle's claw, grabbing the man's wrist. There was a trace of surprise in the eyes of the three of them. Trash like you dare to block my way? Qin Feiyong smiled coldly, and his 5 fingers tightened. The man's wrist was crushed on the spot, and flesh and blood splattered everywhere. That man screamed miserably, heartbreaking. Damn it! The other two were furious. Their battle chi surged, and at the same time they rushed towards Qin Feiyong. You're really courting death. Huang San, who was standing at the side, shook his head. Once Qin Feiyong was enraged, he would even dare to challenge the heavens. Were these 3 punks not looking for a beating? Slap! Qin Feiyong took a step forward, and his big hand swung out like lightning, giving each of them a slap. A bright red palm print appeared on the faces of the 3 of them. The 3 of them were stunned. When did such a fierce man come to the holy sanctum? This is just a lesson. If you provoke me again, I'll kill you. Qin Feiyong looked coldly at the 3 of them, and continued to walk towards the number 1 cultivation room. You dare to order him around, you're courting death, understand? Huang San smiled at the 3 of them, and hurriedly chased after Qin Feiyong. The 3 of them were livid. They turned to look at Qin Feiyong's back, and their eyes flashed with shocking hostility. The screams also alarmed the others. Stone doors opened one after another, and disciples walked out, looking at the 3 of them in surprise. What's going on? Why are there palm prints on their faces? Who has the guts to hit the 3 of them? Could it be them? Everyone followed the 3's gaze and looked at Qin Feiyong and Huang San, their eyes full of shock. In front of the number 1 cultivation room, Huang San ran up and knocked on the door. Soon the stone door opened. A dignified-looking young man in black entered Qin Feiyong's sight. Qin Feiyong sized him up. This person looked to be about 25 or 26 years old, and was 185 meters tall. He had a strong body, but his face was pale, and his eyes were weak and lifeless. Moreover, his body was full of wounds and was still bleeding. The young man in black was also looking at Qin Feiyong with a puzzled expression. Qin Feiyong asked, Xiang Xiaolong. The young man in black nodded and frowned. You are? Qin Feiyong said, let's talk inside. Xiang Xiaolong looked at him suspiciously, and then looked past Qin Feiyong. When he saw the palm prints on the faces of the 3 people behind, he was surprised and stepped aside. Qin Feiyong strode in. Huang San followed closely behind. Xiang Xiaolong closed the stone door as well, and turned to Qin Feiyong and asked, the palm prints on the faces of the 3 of them, were they caused by the 2 of you? Huang San pointed at Qin Feiyong and smiled proudly. It's his masterpiece. Xiang Xiaolong's eyes flashed, and he clasped his hands. You have guts, sir. I admire you. Qin Feiyong sized up the cultivation room. The cultivation room was unimaginably small, only about 100 feet in size, and the layout was also simple. Other than an old praying mat, a wooden tea table, and 2 wooden chairs, there was nothing else. From this, it could be seen that no matter how talented a martial artist was, he could not compare to the treatment in the cultivation room. Seeing that Qin Feiyong was silent, Xiang Xiaolong frowned. How should I address you? Qin Feiyong turned to look at Xiang Xiaolong and smiled. Who I am is not important. What's important is that I can give you something that even the divine temple can't. Xiang Xiaolong was slightly surprised. What do you mean? Are you going to help me deal with Xiao Jian and the rest? Huang San said disdainfully. In front of this senior brother, they are just small fries. You can kill them whenever you want. Xiang Xiaolong was even more surprised. You're tuning into the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.